The Louie Tee Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be? For me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to the Command Post Game live show. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. Now, of course, I'm your Commander-in-Chief, Louie Tee. Thank you for joining me. Hey, yo! I'm here to save you. I'm here to save you. And entertain you. Because that shit we was just watching, not entertaining at all. So here I am to the rescue. Here I am. Want you to know that if you can, where I stand. Shout out to everybody that got through 3/4 of this nastiness that we just had to witness. Shout out to everybody, and we're gonna take it a step forward, right? Shout out to everyone who got through this without a vice. That won't be me. Can't get through 3/4 of that bullshit without something to drink. An adult beverage, as I like to tell my kids. Daddy's drinking an adult beverage. Adult juice is what I tell them. Adult juice. Y'all know what time it is. We got to talk. Hey, I'm letting y'all know, don't pay too much attention to that. That was just the 4th and 5th stringers right there. Those guys aren't making the roster. There are some interesting conversations to be had, though. We're going to have those conversations tonight about this roster. But cheers to everybody who made it through this bullshit. Ed said after the second touchdown was scored, after the fumble by Katron Allen and the subsequent touchdown that was scored, he said, oh shit, game's over. He was right. He then said at right around the 2-minute mark after Ethan Kaliak-Manis in the offense had to punt yet again, Sam Hartman's coming in the second half. It might be 50-0. He was almost right. Before I start talking about the things that actually matter, I want to have an overarching theme conversation first. You're going to get some Louie Tee tonight. So gather around, have a seat, get comfortable. It's going to be a fun night. That wasn't fun, but this is going to be fun. We're going to talk. So, first thing I want to bring to your attention that I think is important is I need to remind you of what the preseason represents. You want to know why the Ravens at one point had won 20-something straight preseason games until we ended the streak? The legendary, he's a sly guy. Doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo. Sly guy, he's a sly guy with the L for the Ravens. The reason they won 23 or 24, whatever the number was, straight preseason games is because they're a factory. They're a professional outfit. They've been doing this for over 20 years with Ozzie Newsome and company. Ozzie passed the torch to Eric DaCosta, and they have a formula. They know what a Raven looks like. They've built on top of a foundation that they've never let crumble. And so, you know, when you see a Raven, they know when they see a Raven, and their depth, their 3rd string and their 4th string are as good as anybody's in the league. That's why the Ravens won so many preseason games in a row. So when you're going up against a juggernaut like that, understand that's when you find out about what the preseason is all about. I've talked about this before. We talked about this last year when we got our asses lassoed by the damn New England Patriots. That was a sign to us that a lot of us ignored, by the way, that the depth wasn't very good on the roster. It's one thing to have that happen in preseason game number 3 like it did tonight. It's another thing to have it happen in preseason game 1 where you're playing a lot of guys. Preseason game 3, we had 41 players, I believe, 41 or 42 players tonight that did not dress out of the 90. Okay. So almost half of the roster. And again, most of those guys are going to make the football team. And I talked about there being 1 or 2 spots, maybe 3 spots available via, the back end that guys were kind of toggling for. I think the decision had already been made prior to this game, but you just never know, right? Don't want to leave it to chance. Go out, play your best ball and see what happens. But this is a reinforcement of the fact that from a depth perspective, we're not there yet. Now, that's not to say that we don't have depth, because I think we're a lot deeper of a football team than we were last year. Again, the bar was extremely low last year. The bar set last year, damn near touching the floor. So to exceed that doesn't take much. But think about what we've already endured. Think about what this roster looks like. Think about the receiver position. Think about the tight end position. Think about the running back position before all the injuries, of course. Think about linebacker. Think about the defensive line in general. And that's already undergone some changes due to injury. And yet we're still deep at that particular group. This is a much deeper team than it has been in recent memory. But it still needs work. Like, the back end of this roster is not complete. It's not even close. I won't even say it's, you can't even say that it's a work in progress. We're not there yet. We just got to the point where we've got starters that are competent and maybe even a little bit better than competent. And then you've got backups that are competent. That we just got to that point. Last year, we had competent starters, no backups. This year, we have probably above average starters, competent backups. We got nothing after that. This is where that is put to the test. Your third string guys, your fourth string guys, we don't have that. Again, our practice squad is going to be ass, period. We're going to cut a couple of guys that are going to make other NFL rosters, but our practice squad is still going to be ass. We don't have a developmental corner in sight. Don't let Carlin Vigors doing this bullshit after a pass breakup in the end zone after getting torched by Chris Moore. Chris, I want to score more. I'm not calling him that bullshit Rio calls him. Rio was talking cold hard cash in our group text. Oh my God, he was unconscious because of Chris Moore on the opening possession. He kicked our ass. Darius Rush got some. Carlin Vigors got some. We don't have a developmental corner in sight. Maybe, just maybe Fred Davis II. And I don't even think he is one. When I talk about this stuff, I've been talking about this all summer. Do we have a developmental corner? I was hoping Fred Davis II would be it. The answer is no, we really don't. Do we have a developmental safety? No. I thought we did in Malik Spencer. They clearly did not love Malik Spencer. They cut him loose. Quantrez Knight just missed a tackle, even though he was having a good game. He just missed a damn tackle that sprung a damn 70-yard run. We don't have a developmental safety on the roster either. We don't have any developmental linebackers. We don't have any developmental edge rushers. We don't have any developmental players. Receivers, no, defenders. Receiver, I do think we have some developmental players there. J.D. Bradley, I think, is a young, talented football player that's going to be on this practice squad. I know it hasn't been a great preseason for Lawrence Cager, but I think he's a guy that you want to continue to work with. It didn't look good for him in these preseason games, specifically last week. He did have a couple of catches this week. Both of them were kind of low catches that he had to go dig out. He had a crazy catch that should have been picked off. Sam Hartman stinks. You know what I said? I told my wife, I said, hopefully this is the last shit that we have to deal with. You know what shit stands for? Cheers, everybody. You know what shit stands for? Sam Hartman Invitational Tournament. Shit. Sam Hartman Invitational Tournament. Hopefully this is the last time we have to sit through the Sam Hartman Invitational Tournament. Ethan Kaliak-Manis had his worst game of the preseason tonight. And again, probably because we played the best competition that we've played. And he played with less good football players tonight, too. That doesn't help. That being said, offensively, you got Ethan Kaliak-Manis as a developmental player. You've got Jaden Bradley at receiver as a developmental player. Probably Lawrence Cager. Maybe they like the Moore tight end out of Washington as a blocker behind Bates. Maybe. Robert Henry Jr. is probably a developmental running back, although, he didn't get a lot of run tonight. I don't know. I think they're trying to hide him. That's what that means to me, which means they want to work with him more. You don't play him. They didn't put him on kickoffs. They didn't give him a lot of carries tonight because you don't want him exposed to the rest of the league. If he goes off for 112 yards tonight, somebody might snatch him up. He had a really good first game, one to forget in the second game, hide him in the third game, get him on your practice squad. That's what that says to me. So Robert Henry is the developmental guy at running back. We have 0 offensive linemen that are developmental. This is what I'm talking about. This is where you start to be hurt by not having draft picks. This is when you feel it in the preseason. I don't give a shit about this come regular season. But this is when you feel it in the regular season. When you're playing against teams like the Ravens, who have an established program, who have 12 picks every year, who are drafting guys and just stacking players on top of players, on top of players, on top of players, on top of players. And so they're going to cut guys that end up on somebody else's, roster around the league. They're going to cut guys that end up being guys on other teams' practice squads, etc. Because the Ravens are a factory. They've been doing this for a very long time. They're a good football team. They play at a high level, and they know who they are. We're still figuring out who we are, what we stand for. And more importantly, we haven't had a full complement of draft picks since the first year that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn got here in 2024. So you can't build the back end of your roster. You should have more Matt Galbins on your roster because you should have been picking guys in the 6th and 7th round. But we haven't had picks, right? We've had 5 picks 2 years ago, 6 picks last year, or vice versa, right? Like, you can't build depth in those guys that are developmental when you're picking a bunch of undrafted players. They're undrafted for a reason. There's a diamond in the rough every now and again, but for the most part, when you don't have those picks at the end of a draft, hard to find developmental guys. Hard to find those guys in the 4th and 5th round that, okay, he might not be a starter, but he might be a really good football player, a core guy that we continue to work with. We just didn't have those. We didn't have those picks. And so this is when you feel it. This is when you see it. But outside of that, the first thing that I told you I was going to be paying attention to, before the game even started, who actually was playing in this game? I got my answers. All the answers that I needed. Antonio Williams is without a doubt wide receiver 3 on this team. Remember that first depth chart? Remember that first deppy? You know what? I'm going to pull that hoe up. I got to go find it. It's way, way, way down here somewhere. But let's pull it up. Here we go. I found him. Let's go look at this unofficial Dappy from way back 3 weeks ago at the beginning of the preseason, right before preseason game 1 versus the Miami Dolphins. We looked at this depth chart and we scoffed at it. We laughed. Luke McCaffrey starting slot receiver. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, man. Who you guys think you're fooling, man? Luke McCaffrey, this man played a whole half of football tonight. And we're going to have a conversation about old Spooky Lukey tonight. We're going to talk about him because if I didn't know better, I would be telling myself, ooh. As a wise woman once said, ooh. Ooh. If I didn't know any better, a wise woman once said, ooh. If I didn't know better, I'll be thinking something real irrational right now, but I'm not there. I'm not there. But let's look at the offensive depi real quick. All right, let's look at the unofficial first depi that came out. And look how far back our guy Antonio Williams was. What a joke, right? We said it when it came out. Antonio Williams, absolutely the starting slot receiver on this team. He's absolutely wide receiver 3. And I said, I'm going to find out, because we saw how much he played in that Ravens joint practice the other day. He was one of the few guys that actually made plays in that game, right? Caught the touchdown, one of the few touchdown passes that was thrown. He had a bunch of one-on-one wins. He had a couple of catches during the actual team drills. He did have a drop, but everybody had a drop. Nonetheless, he's absolutely wide receiver 3. You know who isn't? The guy that was listed at number 1, Luke McCaffrey. So I wanted to see if Antonio Williams was going to be playing in this game. And I said, if I know DQ like I think I know him, he's not playing because he's going to be wide receiver 3. He didn't play tonight. Tells me all I need to know, right? Another thing I was looking for was any of the offensive line going to play. None of the guys that are legitimate starters on this team played. No Sam Cosmi, no Josh Conley Jr., no Chris Paul, no Brandon Coleman. But they did play Julian Good-Jones pretty much the entire game. He's getting cut. Snip, 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 snip. Snip, 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 snip. He getting cut. As he should. I'm going to go out and make a declaration right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Our backup center is not currently on the roster. I think I said that already. I'm saying it again. All right. So let's go through this real quick. Terry didn't play tonight. Diami didn't play tonight. Van Jefferson did play tonight. And I said this before. I think I said this 3 weeks ago when this first came out. If we were just evaluating Luke McCaffrey and Van Jefferson strictly on their ability to play the receiver position, Van Jefferson would be on this roster, not Luke McCaffrey. Because Van Jefferson offers zero special teams value. He's going to be cut. And he's going to be on somebody else's team. It's unfortunate because he could actually help us. Like if, injuries happen and you need a receiver to actually step out there, Van Jefferson can help us way more than Luke McCaffrey can. But that's just, it is what it is. Luke can return kicks. Van Jefferson plays no special teams whatsoever. And that's going to be the difference. Oh, and Luke blocks in the run game. I shouldn't have put up air quotes because he actually does block in the run game, but I digress. Laramie Tunsil obviously out. Wiley did not play tonight. Coleman did not play tonight. Chris Paul did not play tonight. Allegretti obviously banged up. And we don't know when he's going to be back. Assuming he'll be back for week 1. I believe he'll be back for week 1. He didn't play tonight. Julian Good-Jones played basically the whole damn game. Matt Goldman played guard tonight. Guard. Cosme didn't play tonight. Connolly didn't play tonight. Trent Scott had a holding penalty, and he stinks. I would love for them to say, hey, Trent, hey, it's been real, bro. You will always be the answer to the trivia question that is, who caught Jaden Daniels' first ever NFL touchdown pass? You'll always have that, but you know what, bro? Please. Get him out of here. They're going to hold on to him because they ain't shit. Chig didn't play tonight. Sennett didn't play tonight. Cager played tonight. He's going to be on the practice squad. Bates didn't play tonight. Yankov played tonight. He's going to make this roster, though. Remember, I told you, just because you sat out of this game doesn't mean you make the roster, and just because you played in this game doesn't mean you're not going to make the roster. But it does tell you where you are in the pecking order. You're a lot closer to the bubble if you played tonight. If you sat out, you're more likely to make the roster, but it's no guarantee, right? Yankov's going to make this football team, though. Luke McCaffrey, played a lot. We're going to have a Luke McCaffrey conversation here in a bit. Jalen Layden did not play tonight. Jacoby Jones played. Jalen Bradley, obviously. Stephon Diggs did not play. Traylon Burks did not play. Antonio Williams did not play. Obviously, Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota did not play. Sam Hartman and Ethan Kaliak-Manis did play. We'll talk about those two guys in a bit. Ja'Cory Karofsky-Merritt did not play. Rashad White did not play. Katron Allen did, and so did Robert Henry Jr. We talked about Robert Henry Jr. already, but I will reinforce that a little bit later on. He is being hidden. He's going to be on the practice squad. Go to the defensive deputy, and this is where you feel it the most because, yikes, the defense was so bad tonight. Oh, my God. But this is where you find out that the depth, because remember, I just talked about it. We have more developmental guys on the offensive side, not a ton, but more than the zero that we have on the defensive side. We have zero developmental guys on the defensive side of football, and you saw it tonight, right? No Deron Payne, no Dietrich Wise, obviously still. He's going to probably start the season on the PUP list. Jeffrey Emba stinks. Tim Settle Jr. did play tonight. He actually did play early in the game. Johnny's hurt. Shai Tuttle did play tonight as well. No Kinlaw, no Aminahu. Ricky Barber played tonight. True lies in my baba. No Adafiowe. Joseph's played early. Javonte John Baptiste played early. TJ Mack got hurt late mid stages of the third quarter, so he didn't finish the game. Sonny Styles did not play. Leo Chanel did not play. Ali Cajo stunk up the joint tonight. God, stink up the joint, you. Stink up the joint, yo. Stink up the joint, yo. Pump up the value. Pump up the volume. Pump up the value. He stunk up the joint, y'all. God, Ali Cajo was funky tonight. Can you make a tackle, bro? Jeez Louise. He was awful. Frankie Louvu did not play tonight. Jordan McGee still nursing a shoulder injury, did not play. Kay Madrano wasn't much better. He was not much better. He wasn't as bad as Ale Cajo, but Kane's going to make this roster. But golly, boy, Ale stunk it up. If he was battling for a spot, he did not do himself any favors tonight. Kay Madrano had a penalty, low block on an offensive lineman on a screen. He missed a tackle. Ale missed about 2 or 3 tackles. Kane had a couple of good plays, but boy, those two were not good tonight. Kaylavon Chason out. Dorrance did not play tonight. Drake Jackson, IR. Trey Amos obviously still nursing an injury. Rasul Douglas did not play tonight. Fred Davis II played tonight. Amik did not. Antonio Hamilton was out there. Carlin Vigor stinks. Mike Sanders still did not play. Fabian Moreau did not play. And I know what John Comm said. I know what Candy said. I told you I had a chance to sleep on it, and I changed my mind because with Candy on the program talking that talk, I was like, you know what? Darius Rush. You know what? Antonio Hamilton Sr. I said, and then I went to sleep and I said, what am I doing? Why am I being influenced by people just because they there? Ain't no way Fabian Moreau not making this roster. We need 5 corners. And if he doesn't make the roster and I'm wrong, I'll offer up a 00. It'll be well-deserved. But John Comm got it wrong. So does Candy on this one. So does Candy. Fabian Moreau is making the roster. He didn't dress tonight. Doesn't mean he's going to make the roster, but trust me, he's a Durante Jones guy. We don't have any other. You can't go into the season with Trey Amos already being banged up and not sure about him. You can't go into the season with 4 corners. And ain't none of these other dudes remotely close to playing an NFL game except for Antonio Hamilton Sr. You get him on a practice squad. He's 77 years old. You don't got to have him make your roster. Nah. Fab is making a roster, bro. Stop it. Stop that, Aki, before I send shots to your body. Pop, pop, pop. Stop. Darius Rush played tonight. Didn't play well. Nick Cross didn't play. Will Harris, snip, 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 snip. Snip. Already been cut. Tyler Owens, he was hitting folks tonight. Tyler Owens was hitting people. Good to see it. Quantrez Knight broke on a pass, almost had a pick, made a nice tackle, open field, and then whiffed. And then he whiffed. Reeves didn't play tonight. That man played 2 snaps the entire preseason. Jeremy, we live in a world, y'all. Listen to what I'm about to say to y'all. Listen. Shh. Quiet. We live in a world where Jeremy Reeves played 2 snaps the entirety of the preseason, y'all. You can't make this shit up, bro. Jeremy Reeves is our starting free safety. He played 2 whole snaps this preseason. What the? Quan Martin didn't play tonight. Percy was out there early, but not very often. They got him out of there quick. And so that's where we are right now, y'all. That's where we are. All right. So I want to start with the conversation. around Luke McCaffrey. We got to talk about it because they put Luke out there like a sacrificial lamb. Now, yeah, somebody needed to head up that wide receiver crew that was out there, but the way they threw Luke out there tonight, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck and some change. If Luke wasn't a primary kick returner, and clearly you can see they ain't got very many people that can do that shit. They kept putting dudes back there tonight. Jaden Bradley fumbled tonight. Robert Henry Jr. fumbled last week. We don't have Katron Allen fumbled the ball tonight. He looked out of place. He dropped one as well on a kickoff. It ain't too many dudes on the roster that can do that, are backups. There are plenty of guys that are core guys on the team. Any of the running backs that are going to make the roster outside of Katron Allen can do it. A number of receivers, they put Traylon Burks back there, and he did it a little bit. And there's a number of guys that can do it. Antonio Williams can do it if you needed to in a pinch. You could put Jalen Lane back there if you have to, even though he doesn't necessarily excel at it, but he could do it. De'Ami Brown was back there, and Candy actually said she liked the De'Ami Brown. I think it was De'Ami Brown and Rashad White combo that was back there. So there's a lot of guys that could do it, but which doesn't necessarily bode well for Luke. But Luke is an established guy doing it. Plus, they spent the draft pick on him. Plus, that's an AP guy. They're not cutting Luke. But he was out there a lot, y'all. I ain't going to hold you. I saw Luke out there early, and I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't really tripping because I told you, just because you play in this game doesn't mean you're not making the roster. But it's the amount of time you play. Percy played tonight. Percy was out there for 1 or 2 possessions, and then they got him out of there. Tyler Owens was out there for maybe 2 or 3 possessions, and then they got him out of there, right? Granted, the defense was on the field a lot more than the offense. So 2 possessions for Tyler Owens might have been 22 plays. They was out there so much. Conversely, 2 possessions for Luke might have been 4 plays, right? Because they were out there 1 play, Katron Allen fumbled, and then they were out there 3 and out. And so, like, maybe he had to be out there. Maybe they said Luke's going to play 15 plays, and it took them 5 or 6 possessions to get to 15 plays. I don't know. Ultimately, Luke made a catch where it looked like he was almost concussed. And I was like, I saw Bobby Ingram tell him, no. Yeah, stay back. I thought that was Bobby Ingram telling him, you're not going back in, bro. We good now. You made a big catch. You bopped your head a little bit. We're going to take it slow with you, and we're going to play it safe. You done. Nope. Luke was back out there on the next possession. So I said, boy, if I didn't know better, I'd say they're keeping either 6, cutting him and Van, or they're keeping 7, and it ain't Luke. If I didn't know better, when you know better, you do better. If I didn't know better, and I know a lot of y'all been saying they're going to cut Luke. Luke ain't making his team. And I've been like, y'all tripping. Luke is making his team. And I still believe that. I'm not cutting Luke McCaffrey. Luke is on his roster. But tonight was a little bit eye-opening. I ain't going to hold you. Tonight was a bit eye-opening. Luke was out there for the entirety of the first half. It was all bad, and he had a drop. He made a tackle on special teams, though. That helps. But he had a drop. At his primary position, which is receiver, he had a drop. Luke doesn't have to make this roster because Luke ain't cribbing shit as a kick returner. He ain't cribbing a damn thing. I remember last year getting into some arguments with Rio over Luke McCaffrey's importance on kickoff returns. I'm like, yo, Luke don't gotta be back there, bro. Like, the Rio's like, yo, you getting into the midfield, getting into the 40, that shit valuable. And I'm like, yeah, that's great field position, but he ain't ever cribbing no shit. He ain't never cribbing a goddamn thing. You could put somebody else back there that gives you more juice than Luke. Stiff hip ass, tight ankle ass. However, I'm not a Luke McCaffrey hater. I'm not. I actually like Luke, and I actually think that he's gotten better as a receiver. It didn't show tonight, obviously. He did make a great catch. You know, that shit was way behind him. He bobbled it, came down with it, while tussling with a defender. That was a really good catch. But then he dropped the bunny on the slant that Ethan desperately needed. We needed a pick-me-up, and he dropped it. So it's a mixed bag tonight for Luke as a receiver. They didn't put him back on kickoffs basically at all in the preseason because they know he can do it, and that is his position. And so I think he's going to make the roster, y'all. I don't think he's getting cut. But tonight was a reminder that it ain't safe, it ain't safe, it ain't safe, it ain't safe. If they really thought Luke McCaffrey was irreplaceable, they would have treated him like Jalen Lane tonight and not played him. They put Luke out on the field because, to a certain degree, Luke McCaffrey is dispensable. He is dispensable. If he was indispensable, they would have treated him like Jalen Lane. Because Jalen Lane, the receiver, has gotten better, and even DQ talked about it. And I got to give him credit because I'm not the biggest Jalen Lane wide receiver fan, and I talked a lot of shit about him. He looked a lot better this preseason as a wide receiver. He looked a lot more comfortable as a receiver. But Jalen Lane is making this team, and his roster spot is unquestioned because of his ability on special teams, specifically as a punt returner. The man returned 2 kicks for touchdowns last year. He single-handedly put 14 points or 12 points on the scoreboard last year. Luke ain't doing that shit as a returner. He might give you great field position. As we've seen all preseason long, great field position don't mean a damn thing. Jaden and the first team offense got out there midfield after a Quan Martin pick, and them bastards went backwards. Great field position don't mean shit. You much rather have it than not have it. But there's no replacement for a guy directly putting points on the scoreboard. I don't need the defense's help. I don't need the offense's help. I got it. I'll take care of it. Luke ain't doing that. Luke can be replaced on kickoffs. Contrary to popular belief. I went into this game thinking Luke McCaffrey was 95% safe on this roster. No doubt in my mind. I leave this game saying, it's 50-50, bro. If that list come out and Luke ain't on it, it wouldn't shock me now. It would have shocked. Remember what I told you yesterday? I said if the receiver list is any different than what I'm telling you it is with these 7 receivers, I will be shocked. I told you that yesterday. After seeing the way they treated Luke tonight, Y'all seen the meme. I don't know. I don't know. As a wise man once said, I don't know, Jim. I don't know, Jim. I don't know about it tonight, bro. Luke could easily not be on this bitch when we get to Sunday. He could easily not be on this bitch. But I'm sticking to my story. All right? I rip and I rhyme. I rhyme and I rip. These are the words that Dylan spit. I spit hot fire. Well, I be from Jamaica, man. Lot of mercy. What part? Right near the beach. Oi. Samson, I stick by my story. I'm sticking by my story, y'all. 10 toes down. Luke McCaffrey is making his roster. But a little doubt has crept in. I will not lie to you. A little doubt has crept in. I think he's going to be on this football team still. But him playing for as long as he did lets me know that they're not 100% sold on Luke McCaffrey, the receiver. They are 100% all in on Luke McCaffrey, the special teams player. But they're not all in on Luke McCaffrey, the receiver. They wanted to see more tonight, and he didn't give it to him. He didn't give it to him. Van had a drop too. He wasn't clean. Neither was Luke. They both had drops. The reason Luke beats out Van Jefferson is they're keeping 7. I'm convinced until they don't. And they could easily decide to trim off fat at receiver, keep 6, and add that on to another position. Where? Where are you going to add on the extra guy? Where? What position on this team is deeper and better than wide receiver? Where are you going to add another player on? What are you going to keep Byron Coward? Don't make me laugh. And he actually played well this preseason. I like him. Put him on the practice squad. Put him on the practice squad. Hell, you could put him on the active roster in lieu of Shot Tuttle. And you say Shot City. Wouldn't make me one bit of difference. Wouldn't make me one bit. Wouldn't move the needle up. But you need another nose, and Shot Tuttle can play nose. So, because he plays what, y'all? What does he play, y'all? Not circle. Not triangle. He plays square. Yeah. Yeah. He plays square. He's going to make this roster. So that was one of the things that I noticed right off the rip. Luke was out there. Interesting. Julian Good-Jones played the entire game basically at center. He's getting cut. He's going to be cut. As he should. He stinks. Trent Scott, I swear he should be getting cut, but they're not going to do it. They're insecure about their offensive line, and they don't want to. They should cut him. They should cut him. There's got to be a guy that's going to get cut over the next 2 days. Excuse me. That's better than Trent Scott. I guarantee you there's a guy that's going to get cut that's way better than Trent Scott. But they're going to hold on to him because he's been here and he knows the system and all the stuff that you tell yourself that are lies just to make you feel better. He stinks. Like I said, you want to hold on to Andrew Wiley? Fine. You want to hold on to Matt Goldman because he's a rookie and you want to develop him? Fine. Everybody else on this offensive line should be gone. That is a backup, except for DJ Humphries because he just got here and he holds value. That's literally it. You should have 8 linemen, and you should be out on the streets looking for one more offensive lineman, preferably a center. If he can play guard, great. If he can't, I'm not tripping. We need a backup center. I ain't going to bullshit you. I'd cut Matt Goldman ass too. Put him on the damn practice squad. He don't got to make this damn roster. Care he was a 6th-round pick. Snip, snip, snip. Snip, snip, snip. I cut his ass too. You can go develop on the practice squad, bro. You ain't holding up one of my roster spots when I could go out here and get me 2 quality offensive linemen for the price of 1. Get your ass off to the practice squad. And I'm gonna be honest with you. After watching tonight's debacle, what the final score end up? Sheesh. When I left, it was 38-3. I had seen enough. What the final score end up? 41-3. After watching that debacle tonight, that 17-man practice squad roster, that shit is going to be hard to put together, hard to configure, because we don't have 17 dudes that belong on the practice squad. I'm going to be honest with you. We probably got about 7 or 8 legitimate dudes that belong on the practice squad. 7 or 8. And it's all the names you know. The loser of the Ale Cajo Kane Madrano battle, practice squad. Matt Golban, if he don't make the team, practice squad. Jaden Bradley, practice squad. You want to keep Nick Nash, go right ahead, practice squad. Robert Henry Jr., practice squad. Lawrence Cager, practice squad. Like, you know the names. Ricky Barber, practice squad. Byron Coward, if he's not claimed by another team, signed by another team, practice squad. If he don't make the roster. If he don't make the roster. You know the names. It's about 8 or 9 dudes. We don't have 17 guys. TJ Mag, because you part of the IPP, practice squad. Some nasty shit we got back there, though. It's not a lot of good stuff over there. Sam Hartman, if you want to keep him for the vibes, practice squad. Let's go there next. Let's go to the quarterbacks. So Athan got the start, which tells me that they are all in on Athan, which they should be. Like, you drafted him in the 7th round. He's clearly David Blau's guy. The one thing I don't like about Athan is he's not mobile. He's not a statue back there, but he doesn't want to move. And when he does move, it looks forced. I swear to you, he gives me Kirk Cousins vibes. And even Kirk could run a little bit, especially early career Kirk. Early career, fresh out of Michigan State Kirk. His ass would run. Remember, they kept him on some RPOs and some read options, and he kept that hoe and took off, right? Early career Kirk could run. He was an athlete. Go check it out. Early career Kirk was an athlete. Athan don't want to run, bro. That shit was uncomfortable tonight. He had to throw the one to Luke where he slid, just slid a little bit. Then he threw it and fell down. That shit, that's nasty, bro. That's some nasty shit. Then he had one where he ran up into the pocket and then tried to throw it to, I don't know if it was one of the tight ends or a receiver. That shit was nasty. Like, when he got to move, it's uncomfortable. He's uncomfortable. It looks uncomfortable. It looks awkward. He's a true traditional pocket passer. If you can't protect him, he's useless. And I hate that. Conversely, Sam Hartman has wheels, but it don't matter. If you block for him, he's still ass. So it's like, can I put both of them together? Can I get Sam Hartman's wheels with Athan Kaliak-Manis's everything else? I'd feel really good about Athan. But tonight was his worst game of the preseason. Better opponent, obviously. But he wasn't sharp. He wasn't sharp. He wasn't accurate. He had the first play of the game that he had to pass because we ran it the first play in Katron Allen fumbled. Then they come out and they run a boot, and he's got Van Jefferson in the flat. Van should catch this football. He should. But it's not a great throw. And the Ravens ran the same boot on the first play of the game, and their quarterback, Tyler Huntley, completes it, and it ends up going for a first down or like 7-8 yards. That's what ours was supposed to gain. Instead, Athan short hops it. It again, it could have been caught, but it ends up incomplete because Van Jefferson can't dig it out. and now you've put yourself in a 3rd and long. And that was the night for Ethan. He just wasn't sharp. There was another play where you had Jaden Bradley on a deep over. You had another receiver on a dig, and they were kind of overlapping each other. And he threw it right in the middle of both of them. Like, who are you throwing the ball to? He was off. And it could have been one of the receivers' fault, right? Sometimes when those types of miscommunications happen, you're not sure who's at fault. Ethan could have been right. And one of those receivers didn't get the proper depth, and the ball was where it needed to be, and the receiver wasn't where he was supposed to be. But there was a disconnect tonight. They threw a screen to Jacoby Jones of all receivers. Jacoby Jones, really? You threw a hitch to him? All right, good luck with him breaking some tackles and getting some yards. That didn't work. They threw a tight end screen to Cager, I believe, that went nowhere. And it looked like it had like some life. And Petite ass got beat. If he makes his block, I think there's space and opportunity, but we have no depth on the offensive line. We already know that. So don't ask any of these offensive linemen to do anything. There were a gajillion penalties tonight. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it because these guys aren't making the roster. So I'm not going to harp on this stuff. But I will say this. Ethan, to me, is your QB3. If they're going to keep a 3rd quarterback, he, without a doubt, is that guy. Sam didn't do much of anything to change anybody's mind. He stinks. Hopefully this is the last time we will see shit, right? Sam Hartman Invitational Tournament. Hopefully this is the last time for the shit that we've had to deal with the last 2 years. 3 years now, right? 3 years, because he came in with Jaden. But I think he's still going to be around for the vibes. He's a great locker room guy. Everybody loves Sam Hartman. Who doesn't love him? He signed Ed's Cup, y'all. They can't cut him. He signed Ed's Cup. He'll be around. We got what we asked for. I gotta pour up for this because this makes me sad. So let me pour a little bit more into my cup, then I'll talk about it. Cheers. They put Drew Stevens on the field for a 62-yard field goal. I got what I wanted. I asked for Drew Stevens, long distance field goal, 60 or better, 58 or better, really was the number, 58 or better. DQ wanted to do it last week because they were indoors in Detroit. Didn't happen. But he's like, if I get the shot this week, I'm taking it. Bravo. Maybe 2 weeks too late. Should have did it in the week 1 versus the Dolphins, but whatever. Seeing as if that's the only preseason game that you won and you were actually competitive in, fine. I'll cut you a break. Because if you attempted the field goal, he misses, it could have changed that game. You could have lost that game. So I'll cut you a break. But you tried it tonight. I commend you for that. Shit wasn't close. Now, I'm not sure if it had the distance. It looks short from my vantage point, but it could have had the distance. It never had a chance from an accuracy standpoint. It was wide right pretty much once it left his foot. You know, probably traveled about a third of the distance, and then you could see it was tailing outside. And if it wasn't going to have some kind of screwball effect where it came back to the left, it had no shot, and it didn't. That said, I am not discouraged. I'm not scared. DQ might be now, because if he'd have made that, that would have given him confidence that in a game, I can put him out there, which is what I said against the Dolphins, when you could have put him out there for the 59-yarder or the 58-yarder, and he might have made that one, and it would have changed your vantage point and perspective of what he could or couldn't do. You put him out there for a 62-yarder, which he's capable of making, by the way. And I thought he got under this kick. He didn't drive it the way that you have to when you're kicking it from that distance. But I'm not deterred. If another opportunity for a 59-yard field goal arose, I want them to kick it. Don't punt, kick it. DQ's probably going to punt now. That's in his DNA. And now, granted, if Jaden's on the field, and it's because tonight it was 4th and 1. If Jaden's on the field, he's probably going to go for it. Right? More likely than not, he's going to go for it. But that was the absolute right thing to do tonight, was to let Drew Stevens kick that field goal. Now, he missed. I wanted to see it. I'm glad he kicked it. I hate that he missed, but I wanted to see it, and I would have loved if another opportunity would have arose tonight to see whether or not DQ would have pulled the trigger or if he would have bitched up. We never got that chance again. I think the kid can make it. You learn from your mistakes, trial and error. I would have loved to have seen him say, okay, I know what I did wrong there. If I get another shot, I'm going to drive that hole, stay true to my preparation. And I think he would have made it. But he never got another shot. And I don't know if he'll get another shot. Excuse me. I don't know if he'll get another shot. Because DQ might have wanted to see if he could do it in a game. He didn't do it. Now DQ is going to be conservative. We had this conversation. I forgot who it was who said, DQ is going to be conservative, right? I'm going to see conservative Dan Quinn this season because he thinks he's got a defense. So he's going to try to punt and pin him with Tressway. He had an awful night, by the way. Tressway was a sack of shit tonight, but he's allowed to be that in the preseason. But it wasn't good tonight. These weren't good punts. Guys were catching it with plenty of room to spare. It's not like he was booming the football and out kicking his coverage. He wasn't kicking it very far at all. And they were line drives, and they were allowing guys to return it. And there were chances for him to flip the field position with just an absolute boomer and let them guys go down and cover. That's what they here to do. And he didn't do that tonight. I thought he didn't have a great night kicking football. So everybody needs work. Everybody needs work. It's the preseason. Everybody needs work. And Tress wasn't his sharpest tonight either. So special teams wasn't really good tonight. You had the fumble by Jaden Bradley. Luckily enough, Craig Reynolds was on the spot to recover that. You had the muff kickoff by Katron Allen. And then it was a penalty to make matters worse, to exacerbate the fact that he muffed the punt, or the kickoff rather. There was a penalty that pushed them back deep inside their own territory. Then you had a good return by LeJontay Wester. He's really good at punt returns, by the way. So you had a punt return by him for like 24 yards. Then you had the missed field goal by Drew Stevens from 62. You had, I think I'm missing one more special teams like blunder or, mistake. But we had a bunch of penalties on punts and kickoffs that hurt us. We had a bunch of penalties in general tonight. But again, I'm not going to harp on that because these are guys that aren't going to make the roster overall. The overarching theme tonight is that Luke McCaffrey played way too long for my liking. Way longer than someone that's supposed to be safe in a game like this is supposed to play. That worries me for him. Ethan Kaliak-Man has had his worst game of the preseason. Still think he's QB3 if they're keeping 3. Katron Allen did not have a good night. Obviously had the fumble, had the muff kickoff, didn't look good out there. He's still making the roster. They hid Robert Henry. Clearly, a lot of Craig Reynolds, a lot of Katron Allen early because they know Katron's making the roster so they can showcase him. They know Craig Reynolds is not making the roster, and they don't care if somebody else picks him up because they didn't bring him here to keep him around. But he did show some stuff tonight that if, they're not confident in what they have at the running back position on the practice squad, I wouldn't be shocked if they retained him just to have a veteran that can play special teams, that can come out there and give them something if they need it. But I think that would speak to their guy, J-Mac, not being healthy. And if J-Mac, if they think he's going to be healthy, then there's no reason to keep Craig Reynolds around. Because to me, I've already said this, I think they're keeping 3 running backs, and ain't nobody coming after your 12, your 9-year veteran J-Mac that's 31 years old at the running back. But anybody checking for a 31-year-old running back, bro? He can easily, pass through customs and be back here. So ultimately, they hit Robert Henry tonight. I think he had 1 or 2 carries, maybe 3 max. Didn't return any kickoffs. He wasn't even back there on kickoffs tonight, which was surprising. But then when I think about it, it's not surprising because they really didn't want to showcase him. He dressed, so they wanted to give him some carries and give him some touches, but they really didn't play him all that much. And nobody needs to see Craig Reynolds. Nobody showed up tonight saying, "Hey, let me see some of 24. I need to see that Craig Reynolds kid. Boy, he's impressive. Let's see more of him." Nobody showed up tonight saying that shit. This was strictly we got to get this guy to the practice squad. He's talented. We know he's talented. We don't want everybody else to know he's talented. Let's put him on ice. Jaden Bradley's going to play on the practice squad. It wasn't a great night for him. He had to fumble on kickoffs, obviously. Didn't get enough attempts as a receiver. But he's still super talented, and he's going to be on the practice squad. Outside of that, the run game was non-existent again, which speaks to the lack of depth on the offensive line. You have nothing. I'm not even sure that you have guys that need to be on the practice squad on the offensive line, like developmental guys. It's just a mess. There were a boatload of penalties, including Trent Scott with a holding penalty, Nicholas Ferrier or Ferrier Petit, whatever his damn name is, whichever way that shit goes. He had like 2 or 3 penalties, it felt like, tonight. There was just no real stability up front. Ethan, had to move a little bit more than I would like him to have to move. The run game was not as impactful as it needed to be. That's just the state of the roster right now. When you have 41 guys, 42 guys, whatever the number was, out in the game that are making the roster, and then you got a couple of guys that are going to make the roster that are playing. That's that bulk of guys that didn't play tonight, plus the guys that the 8 to 9, let's call it 8 to 12 guys that played tonight that are going to be on the roster or are fringe guys that are talented enough to play in the NFL and be a part of a roster and help. Outside of those guys, we don't have much else. Like, our 53-man roster is all we got. When you start going to the practice squad, we in trouble. We just don't have it there. Last year, it was just the starters, the 22 guys that was starting on the field. You want to add in the special teams, 25 guys, period. That's all we had. The 11 on offense, the 11 on defense, and the 3 specialists. That's it. After the 25, we ain't have shit last year. So that's the difference in the roster. We got 53 guys. We got 53 guys. We're probably more like 46. But we got 53 guys. The problem is, for the preseason, if you want to actually be competitive against good teams, you need to have 75 to 80 dudes. We ain't got that right now. We got 53. Maybe 60. Maybe 60. But you don't have what the Ravens have. Ravens got legitimately 80 to 85 guys. That ain't what we got. They're a real outfit. We're striving to get to where they are. So, like, don't use this as a reason to bury your head in the sand. Yeah, they kicked our ass in the joint practice and they kicked our ass in this game. Guess what? Much like this game, we had a bunch of guys out of the joint practice. Not that they were completely healthy, but guess what? They were healthier than we were. They were healthy, way healthier than we were. At the end of the day, this game doesn't change the way I feel about the 26-27 Washington Commanders. I hope it doesn't change the way you feel. I've seen some comments, oh no, we suck again and all of that bullshit. These guys aren't making our roster. Like, this shouldn't sway you. DQ was pissed. I can't wait to watch the press conference. Not because I care about what he has to say, but more so because I just want to see how pissed off he is. When you get your ass whooped like this, 41-3, this shit is embarrassing. You know what I mean? This shit is embarrassing. Listen to DQ talk about all week, really excited for the opportunity that these guys are going to have. And then watch these guys that have the opportunity to get their asses whooped, get their asses handed to them. Shit's embarrassing. Nobody wants to lose like this. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was pissed off. This gave me Patriots week 1 preseason game vibes, but I'd much rather have the ass whooping take place in preseason game number 3 than number 1. Number 1, you got a number of guys who are going to make your team actually playing in that game, and we got our asses handed. That should have told us everything we needed to know. That 1 preseason game versus the 3rd preseason game is totally different. You actually trying and you actually playing guys that are going to make your team, and you got your damn back kicked in. These are all, for the vast majority of the guys that play tonight aren't making the roster. 90% of the guys that played tonight aren't making the roster. They're not making the roster. So, and again, I tell you, the vast majority of them don't even belong in the practice squad. They're going to keep a bunch of dudes because they got to keep a bunch of dudes. They got the spots. Why not? I wouldn't even keep the vast majority of these guys on the practice squad. There's just nothing there. We don't have a single corner. We don't have a single safety. We don't have a single, I mean, we have one linebacker. I think Ali Cajo is worthy of a practice squad spot. You have some defensive linemen. I think Coward and Ricky Barber are deserving of a practice squad spot. TJ Mag is going to be here because he's a part of the IPP. But none of them, bro, we get zero pressure. When Durante don't scheme it up, bruh, Joe Finagno, or whatever, however you say it, Finago, however the hell you say his name, I'm going to go with Finagno. We had Joe Finagno looking like Joe Flacco. Joe Cool. We had Joe Finagno looking like Joe Flacco tonight. Cooking our ass. Doing whatever the hell he wanted. And there was one play where I think I counted, he was back there for like 6 seconds. Just. Oh, okay. There goes somebody right there. Shit was ridiculous. We get zero pressure, bro. This reminded me of the Dolphins game where we couldn't get any pressure on the quarterback except for Byron Coward. Interior pressure. We get zero pressure on the quarterback. Shit is a joke. Anyway, I digress. Enough of me complaining about tonight's game because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter, right? Let's get to the comment section. Something that actually matters, what you have to say. We're going to take a quick break, get a word from our sponsor, come back on the other side, and then we'll get to your comments. So, shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring the stream. If you are a member of the PrizePicks family, I'm checking my PrizePicks right now to see if my ticket had any luck. Nope. My ticket died on the table. And I'm not playing another one tonight. We had 2 10 o'clock games. They haven't started yet. I'm not even going to dare save my money. But you go right ahead. My guy Rio, shout out to my guy Rio, one of the Kings. He put together a preseason ticket tonight. And I told him, stop that shit. Like, I have morals. I told him I can't do it. But there was some preseason action that he put together a ticket, and that shit died in the first quarter. I told him, I said, your ticket dead, bro. Dead. Your lineup is dead, I tell you. Shout out to those of you who are a part of the PrizePicks family, but if you're not, you're in luck. Link is in the description of this video. Click that link. It'll take you to where you can download the app. App is available in states like Florida, Texas, and California. So many others across the U.S. Use the promo code you see on the screen, HMA, as a first-time user to unlock this great opportunity that PrizePicks has for you. You play $5, whether that's a 2-pick power play lineup or a 3-pick flex lineup, whatever you think is going to give you the best chance to win. You play that lineup, play $5, If you win, you get $150 instantly in lineup bonuses when you use the promo code HMA. Big shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring the stream. PrizePicks had a really funny tweet. If you guys didn't catch it, it was like the dude's name was like Jaden Love or something like that, and he was like, it was hilarious. Out here scamming people, man. Y'all be safe out here in these streets, man. Shout out to PrizePicks though for sponsoring this stream. Let's get to the comment section, see what y'all talking about. Frankie, yo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Frankie, let me get this off the screen. He writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. I was having a great day, really enjoying everything. The slight problem is Ashton Kutcher did not pop out of my TV and tell me that I was being punked. Because you weren't. Did he show up at your place? Scheduling error, right? No, it was a preseason game. Frankie? Preseason game. We're not on the Ravens level, Frankie. That's what that means. Which you should know, right? That we're not on their level yet. They on a new level. They on a new level. We ain't there yet. We probably need another 2 years to get to where they are. 2 more drafts, 2 more free agency classes. You got to hit on the guys that you just drafted. And you got to hit on the class before that, because 2024, we're going to find out this year. This is the pivotal year for the 2024 class. Newton getting hurt is not a good thing, but it's not necessarily a death sentence, although it feels like it. It's not. He's got 1 more year next year. But for the guys that are actually healthy this year, this is a big year for Luke McCaffrey. This is a big year for Mikey Samuel. Ben Sinnott, I think we already realized, not going to be what we wanted him to be, and it's okay. Brandon Coleman, big year for him. Like 2024 class, Jordan McGee, like at least make a mark on special teams, because if things work out the way that they're supposed to, he shouldn't be getting on the field, but so much, because you got Leo, you got Sonny, you got Frankie. Jordan McGee should not be really factoring into the equation. So make your mark on special teams. Like have an impact on this team. That 2024 class, under a microscope, this is a big year for them. I think the 2025 class had a promising start last year, and I think this is a chance for them to do what the 24 class failed to do, which is take the next step forward in your sophomore year. 24, it seemed like it featured a sophomore slump across the board, with the exception maybe of Luke breaking out as a returner. Everybody else struggled. Mikey took a step back. McGee was non-existent again. Jaden took a step back, obviously, with all the injuries. Sinnott continued to be a no-show. Coleman took a step back from a starter to basically jumbo tight end. I keep going. Like that whole class took a step back outside of Luke as a return man. 25 class has a chance to be different. Amos needs to get healthy and he needs to play, right? Connolly needs to take a step forward. We'll see. Got questions. See if he's got the answers. Lane, 2 touchdowns last year. Going to be hard to top that. But shit, I'm asking for it. Give me something better. Bill, going to get the chance to be a feature back this year. Got to still split the backfield with Rachaad White, but he still got a chance to be a feature back. Show me what you got. And then Kane, he still remains the guy out of that draft class that I just look at and say, you really didn't need to do that. You could have done something else, but let's see what Kane can do, right, as a special teams player. No, you weren't being punked. Not in the literal sense. You were being punked as a fan. Our team got punked on the field. But they should have. They should have. That's a much better overall roster than ours. Zach LaRoche, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Zach writes, on the bright side, I'm going to spend less time worrying about the O-line than before, because I'm now just worried about everything. This game should not have made you feel that way. Not when you played 0 starters. 0 starters. Name 1 starter that played tonight that's going to play in week 1 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, discounting special teams, of course. Not Tress Way, not Drew Stevens, not Tyler Ott. Name a player that played tonight that's going to start. You can't, because none of them did. Okay. So I don't know why you are concerned about everything now. I don't know why that would be the case. I don't get it, Zach. Help me understand what your frame of mind is. Maybe I can shed some light, or maybe you can get me to see it from your perspective. Because right now, being afraid of everything, being nervous about everything doesn't make any sense. Nervous about the O-line, absolutely. You should be. We all should be. I've told you, I'm not nervous. I'm anxious. I'm anxious about the offensive line, not nervous. Frankie, yo. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. All right. I know you said AP was going to make a move. My concern is the cap space issue. I don't know if we have enough to sign every Marvel superhero to fill out the holes in the roster. We got plenty of cap space. We don't need every Marvel superhero to help us. We got plenty of talent on this roster. We just need one or two guys to come in and help on the offensive line. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. I promise. We'll be fine. It's not as bad as y'all think. It's not as bad as y'all make it out. But last year was so damaging. God, I can't tell you how much damage last year did. For all the good that 2024 did, 25 undid that good and then some. And that is why we're in the predicament that we are in right now. Had they just gone 8-9 last year, 9-8, and just missed the playoffs, we wouldn't be in this predicament. But they went 5 and what did they go? 5-12? They weren't 4-13, were they? It might have been 4-13. Hold on. We lost like 9 or 10 games in a row. Somehow. Where did we go? We started off 3-2, and then we then proceeded to lose like 11 games in a row. It felt like 11 games in a row. We beat the Giants, and then we beat the Eagles. No, we finished 5-12. We did win 5 games. We beat the Giants, and then we beat the Eagles. We went 5-12, and that opened up some wounds, man. Jesus, we were trying to heal. 24 was starting a process of a lot of people healing some really deep, deep wounds, and 24 just opened them back up. So I get it. I mean, when you hear Zach LaRose say, I'm worried about everything, I get it. I don't love it. I hate that thought process and that frame of mind, but I get it because last year sucked. It sucked. And having seen last year, and then you get off to this start, and we saw this kind of shit in the preseason last year, and it as you guys spooked. The difference is last year's roster was actually ass. Like, who was number 2 at receiver last year? Chris Moore? Noah Brown? Like, we didn't have a wide receiver 2. We got Stephon Diggs this year. We got Antonio Williams after him. It's not the same. We had 87-year-old Zach Ertz. I know Candy and Lake both called Chigakonkwo soft. They insinuated that he still can catch a goddamn seam ball, and he's still athletic, and he can still make plays. Yeah, he might be a little soft. And don't ask him to block. Fine, we didn't bring him here to block. We got John Bates, Colson Yankoff, and Ben Sinnott to do that. He's here to catch the football and make shit happen, and he can do that. We got more depth at the tight end position, more depth at the receiver position, and we're more talented at the running back position than we have been since Jaden got here. Offensive line, that's the question. Offensive line, big question. Defensively, what are we talking about? Like, the front and the linebackers, oh my God. We haven't seen this much talent here in Washington since 04, 05, 05, 06. Really 04, 05. To me, is the last time we saw this much talent. LeVar Arrington, Sean Taylor, LeBron. I don't think LeBron was here quite yet. Ryan Clark. Antonio Pierce, Marcus Washington, Barry Cofield. Like that 04 defense was so good. So good. This is the most talent we've seen since then. So it's not the same as last year. Last year, we were void of talent. We ignored a lot of the warning signs, a lot of the red lights, a lot of the stop signs, because we had gone 12-5 and made it to the NFC Championship the year before. We didn't want to hear none of that shit. This year, they actually did upgrade the talent on the roster. Whether you want to believe it or not, they did. So we don't need every Marvel superhero. You just need, because you're not going to get that this time of the year. That time has passed. You could probably use, what are those superheroes on Avengers or on Invincible? What are those people called that are saving the town on Invincible? You could probably use one of them. You could use one of those guys. Mr. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. OG, triple OG, Mr. Ron B writes, Lou, I don't want to make too much of this. Then don't. But I see a conjunction coming. I see a conjunction coming. And I know you're going to make a lot out of this. But here's the conjunction. Now, let's see what you say after that. Piss poor effort when jobs are up for grabs is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Enjoy your evening. Yeah, there were jobs on the line. Not too many. Like, these guys weren't making the roster. A lot of these guys that were out there tonight. Literally, you know what I was really disappointed in? Kane Madrano and Ale Cajo. They both stunk up the joint tonight. They both stunk up the joint tonight. And both of them were vying for one spot at the linebacker position. You know what? If they both got cut, I wouldn't be mad. They're not going to do that. Kane Madrano is going to make this roster. And I don't think Kane was terrible. Ale stunk it up tonight. I was really disappointed in Ale Cajo tonight. Kane wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible. So nobody went and grabbed the position that, by the horn. No one said, hey, I'll be the final linebacker on this team. No one grabbed the horns, that position by the horns. None of the running backs stood out. I mean, Robert Henry never got a shot tonight because they were hiding him. Katron didn't distance himself like he should have from the rest of the running backs. But he's making a roster. He doesn't have to worry about it, but he didn't play well tonight. So there's a little bit of discipline. And then Ethan, same thing. Like, he didn't distance himself from Sam. We know he's better than Sam, but he didn't show it tonight. So that was frustrating. It was frustrating to see that. Enjoy your evening as well. Reese! Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, the Ravens were trying their ass off. No, the Ravens they got it like that. They got it like that. Their trying looks like, us dying, because, we would die to play the way that they played tonight with our backups. We just don't have the capability to do it. So the Ravens, they carry on tradition. I think they went undefeated in the preseason this year, 3-0. This is what they do. They have the depth to be able to out-depth teams in the preseason. You can't go as deep as the Ravens can. They go all the way to 90. They brought in their 8th string running back, and he broke off a 70-yard run. Meanwhile, every running back that played in the preseason for us this year fumbled. Every last one of them, except for Craig Reynolds. Like, we don't have an 8th string running back. They all got hurt. They got their 8th string running back coming in, and on his first carry, 70 yards. We can't compete with that, man. Are you kidding me? Their 19th string quarterback comes in, tries to throw a pick, then does throw a pick directly to our player, which resulted in our only 3 points of the night, by the way. And then he takes them down the field rolls out to his left, posts up, and throws a touchdown pass to redeem himself. We can't compete with them, man. KC, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. KC says Malik Spencer still on the roster. IR settlement. That's not how that works. If you settle, like if you do an injury settlement, you're not on the roster anymore, usually. So they didn't say he was on IR. They didn't put him on IR like they did Jerome Ford or Drizzy Drake Jackson. They said he was released. Let me go back to that post. I might be wrong. Let me see if I can find that post. Let me look at it. Okay. So let me pull it up on the screen so y'all can see. So, because I had a couple drinks now. I had a couple drinks. So I don't want y'all to have to trust my judgment. I want y'all to see for yourself. Because, as I mentioned, I had a couple drinks. So I'm gonna pull it up so y'all can see it. So y'all know I'm not tripping. So let me remove that and then put this up here. What does it say, y'all? Am I tripping or am I tripping? It says signed O-lineman, outside linebacker Boogie Basham. He was asked tonight. Joshua Bledsoe. Hey, he got a pick tonight. How about that? And Quindale Johnson. No, Bledsoe thought he had a pick, and then Quindale Johnson actually got a pick, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Released Will Harris and Malik Spencer. Maybe I can't read. Maybe I misunderstood. I don't know. But like it says Drake Jackson placed on injury reserve. He's on injury reserve. It says Will Harris was released. So was Malik Spencer. Now, again, I could be wrong, but it says they released him. So not to be an asshole, but yeah. DB gets it done. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Hey, bruh, you had a whole photo gallery from the event. Shout out to you. I saw your post on IG. You had about 8, 9 pictures. You was a main character, bruh. Right up front. Shout out to you, man. I get that we're still building, Lou. We are. That's important to note. There's a but coming. There's a conjunction coming, though. But there it is. You can always tell by the tone of a sentence, right? What's coming next? I get that we're building. Here comes the conjunction. But we can't ignore the talent gap between their backups and ours. Adam Peters is picking these guys too. Yeah, but it's not the same. The Ravens be having like 11 draft picks, bro. It's one thing if you like he had 9 his first year. Now he didn't do great with the 9. I gotta admit that he didn't do great with the 9. But that was his first time as a GM. Like, I get it. I'm not oblivious to the fact that dudes ain't gonna just jump into a position and just kill it. Like everybody don't just do that. Some dudes do. Not everybody does. He had 6 picks in 2025, and he had 5 picks this past year in the draft, or vice versa. Excuse me, 5 in 2025, 6 this past year. Like he ain't had a lot to work with. He ain't had a full complement of draft picks. That's where you build your roster, not free agency. This is where you build your roster. You had 5 picks in 2026 and 6 in 2020, or 5 picks in 2025, 6 in 2026. So 11 total players you added to the roster over the last 2 years via the draft. Meanwhile, the Ravens are adding 11 players in one draft. They probably had 11 picks this year. If they didn't have 11 this year, they had 11 last year. I don't know that for a fact, but I just know the Ravens stay stockpiled with picks. Stay with a boatload of picks. 9, 10, 11, 12. I turn my nose up at three seventh rounders and 2 6s and 2 5. I turn my nose up at that. But that's how you build, though, especially when you building from the ground up like we have. We ain't had it. He ain't had the luxury of doing that. Yes, there's a talent gap. There should be. The Ravens program has been like in full effect since like 2001. Like, the Ravens are the Ravens. They're one of they haven't won a Super Bowl since 2012, but they're still one of the gold standard organizations in football. They make the playoffs just about every single year. Even when Lamar gets hurt, they still manage to win 10 games and make the playoffs. They went to the playoffs with Tyler Huntley one year and should have beat Cincinnati. I think that was 2021. Should have beat Cincinnati. If your boy don't fumble at the goal line, they probably beat Cincinnati that year. The Ravens are one of the teams in the league that you look at it and you say, they get it. So, yes, there's going to be a talent gap. Unfortunately, it's a talent gap. If you want to beat Adam Peters up for undrafted guys, go right ahead. Knock yourself out. I'll watch you. I won't participate, but I'll watch. I got my drink. I got my cold beverage. I got my chair. I'm sitting back. I'll watch. Good one, DB. Good one. Oh, Adam Duck, you missed that one. Try again. I'll sit here and watch. I'm not participating, though. I mean, give him more draft picks, and then we can have a conversation. Because I feel like he's done a good job in free agency. I've heard a lot of people say Adam Peters is, done an ass job in free agency. I don't agree. Has he had some misses? Yeah. Every GM does. Nobody bats 1,000. But the guys that he have brought in here, and when I say misses, I'm not even talking about the guys that he signed. I'm talking about the guys that he didn't sign because they either chose elsewhere or we got outbid. That's what I'm talking about. You think about the guys that he signed in free agency here. We haven't had too many misses. We had one bad trade. That's the Marshawn Lattimore trade. Every other trade is worked out for the most part. It didn't yield us the results we were looking for because of other circumstances, like the Debo trade, for instance. He still played well here. I had my gripes with Debo, but we asked Debo to be something that we never envisioned Debo having to be when we traded for him, which is the number one. Debo played well, and had his role been what it was supposed to be, those numbers he put up and what he was able to provide us with would have been plenty enough. Obviously, we love the Laramie Tunsil trade, hate the fact that he got injured, but none of us regret the trade. And you look at the guys that they've signed in free agency, whether it's Zach Ertz, it's Bobby Wagner, it's Austin Eckler. You don't make the NFC Championship game without those guys in 2024. You don't make it without the Jeremy Chins, the Frankie Louvu's, and the Tyler Biadishes. Like, you can't say that he struck out in free agency because he hasn't. He didn't do enough last year. I'll grant you that. But they thought they were closer than they were. He was lied to. He fell for the banana in the tailpipe. He thought that a Von Miller and a trading for Debo was going to put us over the top. He was wrong. Last year, he stunk it up. I'll admit. Because I'm an AP guy. He stunk it up last year. I thought he knocked it out of the park this year. Everywhere except center. And now we're having a conversation. And we should be. And if this doesn't work out at center, and if he doesn't find us a solution, like Nick Allegretti is your starting center. If he doesn't find us a competent backup, that's on him. And we have to take him to task for it. Because he created this narrative and this dilemma by moving on from Tyler Biadasz without a real plan. And not we're going to go sign Tyler Linderbaum and outbid everybody, which they weren't able to do clearly. That's not a plan, right? That's a thought. A plan is we're going to go get Tyler Linderbaum. If that doesn't happen, we're going to go do this. And if that doesn't happen, we're going to go do this. And if that doesn't happen, we still have Nick Allegretti to fall back on. That's not what they did. So we find ourselves here talking about Allegretti not staying healthy and Julian Good-Jones starting most of the summer and Nick Galvin not being ready as a 6th-round pick. That's on him. And unless he fixes this, it's going to be on him. But the talent discrepancy is obvious because it should be. The Ravens have been building this program and consistently keeping it up at the level that it's been at since, like, again, 2012. Like, I was kidding when I said 2001, you know, but literally since 2012, since they won the Super Bowl, they've been right in this mix ever since they drafted Lamar Jackson. Like, this is who the Ravens have been. So, Super J, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, AP has shown 2 preseasons of no depth. That's an issue. He had clear connections to why we get these results. Troubling. Again, what do you want the man to do with 11 total draft picks over the last 2 years? Now, granted, some of that is his fault. Who's complaining about the trades that he made to end up with just 6 and 5 picks in the last 2 drafts? You wanted, just like I wanted, Marshawn Lattimore. You can't have revisionist history now after the fact that it didn't work. When he did it, we were all talking about that's the move that's going to get us to the Super Bowl. You can't do that now. You love the Laramie Tunsil trade, and we all were on board for the Debo trade going into 2026 or 2025 because we thought, much like Adam Peters did, we were a lot closer than what we were. We fell for the banana in the tailpipe. The no depth, it stems from not having enough draft picks. That's how you build your roster. Remember, we've said this a million times. You don't build your roster from free agency. You build your roster from the draft. You supplement your roster through free agency. You want to blame somebody for the lack of depth? Blame Ron Rivera and company. That's why we don't have no depth, because they drafted Fedarian Mathis, because they drafted Jahan Dotson, because they drafted what's the damn corner? Skinny ass corner name. You want to blame somebody for the lack of depth? We should have Kyle Hamilton. We should have Gonzo. We should have a lot more talent on this roster right now. What's the name of the 3rd round center they drafted out of Arkansas that didn't play like a single snap here? You want to blame somebody for the lack of depth? Don't blame Adam Peters. He's trying to fix a mess that was created by the last group that was here, just drafting shit, just pointing at names. Yeah, let's get him. That's who is the blame for this shit. Adam Peters definitely has some blame. He's not, like, he's culpable in this as well. Absolutely. That 2024 class, it ain't looking too hot right now. And that was 9 picks. Ain't no excuse for that. But that draft has not been spoken for quite yet. That chapter is not closed. They can redeem themselves this year. Jaden bounces back. Mikey bounces back. Brandon Coleman bounces back. You get a little bit more out of Ben Sinnott. You know, Luke has a strong year, and all of us, and McGee is great on specials, and all of a sudden we're looking at that class a little bit different. But that 24 class, that's sticking out like a sore thumb. So Peters absolutely has to wear some of this. But when he got here, remember the question they asked him when he got here. What did he think about the roster? And that brother paused for about 5 seconds. And he said, we got some work to do. He told us everything we needed to know about this roster. And then he started chopping down at all the guys that Rivera brought in here. Ricky Stromberg. That was his damn name. Ricky Stromberg. And Emmanuel Forbes. That's the name of the damn corner. You can't have depth. Like, those are guys that should still be here. You understand what I'm saying? Those are guys that should still be here. They're not. We ain't even gotten to the end of the first contract of the guys that Adam Peters has brought in here. So you can't blame the lack of depth on him yet. Not solely, at least. Not solely. Not solely. Showtime Jerry G. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Showtime Jerry G says, F it. Trade Mariota, which stinks in this offense, and Luke for alignment. Who wants Mariota? If you can find a trade partner, it'd be one thing if Ethan just was. You see the Joe Finagno guy? Like, if Ethan looked like that in the preseason, if Ethan looked like Ty Simpson's a first-round pick, mind you. But Finagno is undrafted. If he looked like that, maybe you could say, you know what? Yeah, trade Mariota. See if somebody interested. That ain't the case. We need Mariota. We need Mariota. You really confident in putting Ethan Caliat-Manis in the NFL game if it came to? Are you that confident? I'm not. I can't speak for you. I'm not. So no, I can't trade. Even if Marcus is a gamer. Marcus is a gamer, like we saw against the Denver Broncos last year. Marcus is gonna leave it all out there. He's gonna do some dumb shit like throw the ball right to a defender. You're like, Marcus, what the bro? Marcus is gonna run though. Marcus is a gamer. I can't get rid of Marcus. Not yet. Ethan ain't ready. Maybe one more year. Next offseason, Ethan might be ready, but he ain't ready right now. Can't do it. Now, Luke, I've already said, whoever the receiver is that ain't making a roster, pick up the phone, call the Raiders. The Raiders need receivers. Raiders ain't in a position to turn down Van Jefferson for alignment. Now, they might value Jackson Powers Johnson way higher than just trading him for Van Jefferson. But the Raiders got quarterbacks. Yeah, they love Kirk. Kirk's going to start for them, and they got Mendoza. They don't need a quarterback. They don't need Marcus. Lion Ace. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Lion Ace, writes, salute to our commander-in-chief. But unfortunately, your arch nemesis. I hate you. I hate you, Lion Ace. I hate you, Rio. I told him in our group text, I said, I hate you, bro. He was going off when Simo scored the touchdown. That's I said, Simo. No. Oh. He was going off when Chris Morris. First of all, that was not a touchdown. What were those officials looking at? That ball clearly hit the ground. He clearly lost possession. How in the hell did you call it on the field incomplete and then go look at it and say, no, that's a touchdown? Are you insane? Have you lost your mind? What? That had to be one of the worst calls I've ever seen. It'd be one thing if they called it a touchdown on the field and they left it as a touchdown. Okay. I still would have disagreed and said it was a crazy call. But it was ruled incomplete. On what planet is that a catch? Rio went crazy after that was a touchdown. Talking all that. He's inevitable. All that dumb bullshit. I hated it, bro. I hated it. And here you go. He got the last laugh on us. I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing at you now. You told me I was ugly. I was scared to crack a smile. Ha, 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 ha. I'm laughing at you now. Ha, 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 ha. I hate that shit, bro. Like, I hate using the word hate. Hate. It's such a strong word, but I hate this shit, bro. I hate that you even brought it up, Linus. I hate it. I hate it with a passion, bro. Command OGJ. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Command OGJ? Do we have to keep 53 of these boys? That's a great question. Do we actually have 53 dudes to keep? Let's pull up the roster real quick. Let's see if we got 53. I think we got 53, man. Let's see. Let's see if we got 53. We start on the defensive side. One, Wise ain't gonna be healthy to start, so you don't have to keep him on the roster. So he don't count right now, but he would count. 1, 2, and you say Shy City, I'm going to leave him out for now. We'll come back if we need him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 on defense. We'll come back to defense if we need it. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I'll come back to him. Take him off. 29, 30, 31. I think I already counted him. So 30, 31, 30, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. I'll come back to him. 43, 44, 45. Your three specialists are 48. I said I would come back to Athan. That's 49. I said I would come back to Matt Golban. That's 50. Go back to the defensive side. Said I would come back to Javonte John Baptiste. That's 51. And I said I would come back to, that was one more person. Ale Kyle? Kamadrano. 52. So we don't quite have 53. We have 52. But obviously with the injuries, Dietrich Wise and Laramie Tunzel, you would have 54 total. But no, I wouldn't keep 53 guys here. It'd be about 51 or 52. So do we have to keep 53? Yes. Will number? Like, maybe not. Like, they could easily keep 53, cut a couple of guys, and go out on the waiver wire and find 2 or 3 more dudes. So we'll see. So to your point, not totally do you have to keep 53 guys, but they probably will. They probably will. Tony, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Tony writes, year after year, we are optimistic about this team. The roster building has sucked. Coaching has sucked. And don't get me started on this GM or 5. Sheesh. Talk about a harsh critic, Tony. Yikes. I don't know, man. I don't know, Tony. I don't know, man. Yikes. Do I need to get the 5 hive on you? Do I need to sick the 5 hive on you, Tony? Because you know they'll attack anybody. They just finished kicking the back end of Dan Orlovsky and poor Rooster. Chris Russell on X. They've deterred him from even posting these days. They've beat him up so bad. You sure you want some of this? You sure you want the 5 hive on your case? Because when they swarm, it's over, bruh. Be safe out there, Tony. Godspeed. All right? Godspeed. Court Casino. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Court Casino writes, Lou, AP has had 3 years, so that it takes time to build a roster. Excuse is a dub. Again, he's had 3 years. I said this when he came in. I'm going to give him 3 years to build a roster that I think can do something. 24 really, I think, messed us up. But we are in year 3, and I think this is a roster that can do something. Here's the part that I struggle with y'all. What did y'all expect this man to do when he literally came in here and we had the highest turnover rate in 2024 of any? That's not how it was supposed to have to be. When guys come in as a general manager, yes, they clean house. But there's usually more talent here when you show up for the first time. It's usually more talent than what was here. There was nothing here. Literally, it was Terry McLaurin, Deron Payne, and like maybe 5 other dudes. There was nothing here. Like listen, 2020 first round pick, not here. 21 first round pick, not here. 22 first round pick, not here. 23 first round pick, not here. Like, do you understand like how bad that is? Like, seriously. 19 first round picks, 2 of them, neither of them here. You can't fail that epically. Don't get me started on the second round, by the way. Or the third round, for that matter. You can't fail that epically and expect Adam Peters to show up here with a roster that was pretty much null and void, that he had to build from the ground. And I'm not telling you he's made every right move, because the 2024 draft, that needed to be the foundation, and it's not. I won't say he whiffed, because there's still time for that draft class to redeem itself. If Jaden's the only thing we got out of that draft class, it's still a win, but it's not the type of win you need when you have 6 picks within the first 100. You have to come away with more than just your starting quarterback for the next decade. He whiffed in 2024 if guys like Mikey Samerstill and Johnny Newton doesn't look like he's going to pan out. Like, the fact that you had 3 second rounders and only one of them has a chance and the other 2 look like busts, you failed epically. So I'm not absolving. I don't want y'all to think I'm absolving Adam Peters of wrongdoing, because he is to blame partly for where we are from a depth standpoint. But make no mistake about it. If we're dividing the blame pie, right? If we're slicing up the blame pie, 70% of that goes to Ronald Rivera and company before he got here. The other 30 goes to Adam Peters. Okay. Like, seriously, we got to understand what he walked into. This is a league where your first, second, and third, your first 2 days of picks have to be players that you are relying on for the next 5 to 7 years. We don't have a first round pick from 2019, 2020, 21, 22, or 23 still on the roster. Let that shit sink in, man. Who else is that inept at drafting? I don't know what y'all want this man to do other than when he gets his turn to make better picks. The 25 class, outside of Kane Madrano, they all look like guys that can play. Can Trey Amos stay healthy? We'll see. I need Josh Connolly to step up. That's another guy that I got my eye on, because right now, I never loved the pick. I'll be honest with you. Didn't love the pick. When they made it, I don't love it right now. But I'm not going to shit on him, because I need to see it. But I don't love Josh Connolly. There were too many holes in his game to be a first-round pick. They were really drafting him for the upside. But his potential, as a wise man once said, son, your potential is going to get me fired. I need to see it from him. Amos looks like a player if he can stay healthy. Obviously, Jalen Lane he's already paid off his draft pick. That's a day 3 pick that you've already gotten 2 touchdowns from as a punt returner. That's what they drafted him to do. Okay. So he's already paid for his draft pick, his draft status. Kane Madrano, that's the one I don't understand. I didn't understand it. I don't understand, and I don't like it. But it's a 6th round pick. Y'all know how I feel about 6th and 7th round picks. Whatever. Right? And then Bill. And Bill's going to start for us this year, and we feel really good about him. We already said if you hit on 30% of your draft class, that's a win. It's a little bit different when you only have 5 picks, right? It's not that hard to hit on 30% of your class. But nothing's a hit in the 25 class. They've only been here a year. So this is going into year 2. The 26 class, we'll see what they do. Like, I'm still baffled as to how Adam Peters is getting so much of the blame. He's the face of this But I just went through his free agency. His free agency in 24 was a hit. It led us to the NFC Championship game. We had multiple guys that he brought in here as free agents that ended up being all pros in that year. Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu and Austin Eckler, they were all superb for us. Even the ancillary guys like Biotish and Olamide Zaccheaus, and like those guys were huge that year. Last year was the year where I felt he let us down in free agency. You got it. You got it. Last year wasn't good. And I think he fell into the trap, but I'm not giving him the excuse. I'm not going to let him lean on the crutch of, oh, man, he fell for the pump fake. His job is to not fall for the pump fake of thinking that we were close. That's his job. As fans, we're allowed to fall for the pump fake. We're allowed to have the banana be in the tailpipe, not the general manager. He has to be able to know better. He didn't. He thought we were close. He was wrong. So last year was a bust. The free agency class was ass. The draft I thought was solid. He did what he could do with what he had because he went all in. And Derek B kills me every time I say that. He went all in. When you trade for Marshawn Lattimore, when you trade for Laramie Tunsil, when you trade for Deebo Samuel, you're going all in. You sign Von Miller, you're going all in. I know that sounds crazy. The Texans, when they were going all in, when they went out and got Stephon Diggs, traded for Joe Mixon, signed Danielle Hunter, that looks like going all in. I get it. They didn't make it to the AFC Championship game, though. They didn't make it to the championship game. So they required a little bit more. We thought, hey, couple of veterans that been there, done that. Deebo been to a Super Bowl. Von Miller won a Super Bowl. Get Laramie Tunsil, one of the best left tackles in the game. Marshawn Lattimore healthy. Finally, we're going to give him a full offseason to get healthy. He was never healthy when we traded for him. Are we ready? So we thought. Could they have done more? Should they have done more at receiver? Yes, we all agree. But the thing that they didn't do that they should have done was sign Terry. Remember, you're dealing with the first-time GM. He learned the lesson. What did he do this offseason? He learned from the Terry debacle, and he signed Laramie Tunsil on the first day of free agency. Got it done. He's learning, y'all. He's getting better at his job. He started a little slow, and I wouldn't even say he started slow in 2024. Because, again, I thought he did some really good shit. 25 was where he dropped the ball. I thought he picked it back up this year, and he ran with it pretty damn impressively. And he tried to go get Tyler Linderbaum. He tried to sign. I wouldn't have signed Alec Pierce. I'm glad we didn't get Alec Pierce. He ain't even been healthy all summer. Y'all would have been crashing out if they'd have gave all that money to Alec Pierce only for him to be out for as long as he's been. And they still don't know if he's going to be ready for week 1. But he tried to go get Alec Pierce. He tried to get Romeo Doubs. It's not for a lack of trying, y'all. He tried to go get Isaiah Likely. He tried. Again, feel like he did a really good job this offseason. Sands for the center position. So, y'all going to feel like y'all want to feel. But Court Casino says, name that blue chipper that AP identified with his magic eye in 3 years. I mean, that Jaden Daniels? You asked for one, I gave you one. Jalen Lane is a punt returner. They didn't draft him to be a receiver. They drafted him to be a punt returner. He returned 2 in his rookie season. And had the defense actually forced more punts, had he stayed healthy for 17 games, I guarantee you he would have set the Commanders' all-time record with a 3rd punt return for a touchdown. There's your other blue chipper. You got me. If those don't classify as blue chip in their space, you got me. Hands up. You got me. I think that he's drafted some good players. I don't know if he's drafted any blue chippers outside of Jaden Daniels and Jalen Lane as a punt returner. You got me. Hands up. Hopefully, now I said this year's draft has a chance to yield us more blue chippers. And Bill could end up being a blue chipper. I don't know. We'll see. But this year's draft feels like the one that actually has a chance to be like a foundation building draft, right? Sonny Styles feels like a guy that could do that. Antonio Williams, y'all seen it. The boy he's stupid talented. Y'all know how I feel about him. I go to the ends of the earth defending Antonio Williams. So I might have to come down. I might have to have some withdrawals off the hopium with Antonio Williams because that's my boy. But I don't think I'm going to have to do that because he's going to back me up. Ethan is going to be the backup quarterback here, I think, for the foreseeable future. So that's going to hold up. Goldman is the one that I said, just like K. Madrano, I'm not sure about. Katron Allen's going to have a role here. And Joshua Josephs, I think, is super talented. Going to have to, you know what I'm saying, put it together, but he's super talented. So I think this is a draft class that actually could have, not necessarily blue chippers. I don't know. Josephs is the one guy that isn't a blue chip type prospect necessarily, but that could turn into one. But he's going to have to put the work in. But Antonio Williams and Sonny Styles are blue chip talents to me. Now they got to go out and perform like it. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Mr. HCTR, been a member for 44 months. Salute. Who writes, what reason does AP have not to go after Decker? Now that's a legitimate question. I would have gone and signed him. Like, Brandon Coleman doesn't have to start. This is an example of them trying to force one of their draft picks to be more a main character that needs to be a supporting cast member. They want Brandon Coleman to be a main character because they drafted him. And he doesn't have to be. I would have went and signed Taylor Decker. I would have let Brandon Coleman continue to compete at left guard. And it would have enhanced the depth. If Coleman doesn't win the job, he's capable of coming in at tackle, at both guard spots. You enhance the depth of the overall roster because, honestly, DJ Humphries does the same thing, but he's not capable. Like, DJ Humphries isn't a starter at this point of his career. Decker can still start. He can still start. Humphries' spot duty can get you through. He can get you by. But you don't want him starting 8 games this season. That's not what you want from DJ Humphries. So I would have gone after Taylor Decker. You're not doing it now because you signed DJ Humphries. You're not doing it now. I would have gone after Decker too. HK Hawkins, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. HK writes, 0 offensive touchdowns in the last 10 quarters is not good. It's not good. It's not good. That speaks to the lack of depth on this roster. As a wise man once said, not very good. Not very good. I said tonight would have been nice to just score a touchdown. Can Ethan didn't score. He didn't lead a single touchdown drive. As well as he played, he didn't lead a single touchdown drive. Some of it is on him. He throws a better pass to Lawrence Cager. It's a touchdown in Detroit. That was on him. Cager should have caught it, but it wasn't a great pass. Just throw a catchable football so he can walk in the end zone. That's on him. No touchdown in 10 quarters. It's crazy. And you know what's even worse when you think about it in the context of you got turnovers. They forced 6 turnovers this preseason, and they had some tremendous field position after a few of these turnovers. Tonight, they had great field position after the interception. Nothing. Kick this field goal. They had great field position after the Quan Martin interception. Nothing. Punt the football. So it's even worse when you think about some of the field position they were afforded with the turnovers forced. Yikes. Derek B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Derek B. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, all black, Ravens 4th, still look like NFL. That's the program they've built, Derek B. We not nowhere near that, bruh. After you get past our second string, we don't look like we got NFL players no more. Because we don't. Because we don't. Okay. So yeah, that's what the Ravens have built. I told you, they go all the way to 90. We stop at about 60. They go all the way to 90, bruh. All the way. So when you sit down, 41 or 42 guys, you're really not going to have shit. Because we don't go all the way to 90. We go to about 60. Straight up. We go to about 60. They go all the way to 90. Ant-Man, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Ant-Man writes, Lou, whoever the Ravens cut, let's sign them. It's a good strategy, right? They're going to cut some good players. They'll probably be better than what we got on the back end of our roster or on our practice squad for sure. I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it at all. Christopher McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, C-Mac, writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Chris? Hope all is well with you and the family. Likewise. 3 questions. 1, who is the surprise bubble player making the 53? I think your best shot at a bubble guy cracking the roster, there's probably 2. Byron Coward is 1. The other would be Van Jefferson, I think. Those are the 2 guys that, because Luke's, look, Spooky Lukey, that's what they call him. Some people call him that. He spooked me tonight by playing for as long as he did. So if they cut him, I don't know if they cut him to keep Van. They might cut him and they keep 6 receivers. But if they cut him, I think it's to keep Van. Because Van is more of a wide receiver. But again, they value Luke on special teams. I don't have them cutting Luke McCaffrey. Byron Coward is another guy that I could see making this roster. I could see Byron Coward being on this roster. How do you see Blau's game plan changing with the O-line issues? I talked about this already. When you had Laramie Tunsil, you didn't have to chip. You didn't have to double team. You could leave Laramie on the island. You could get your eligibles all out on the route and timing and rhythm of the play. Now you're back to 2024 rules, right? Those apply. Now you got a chip on both sides. Hopefully Connolly doesn't need as much help, but feels like he might still need help. He's still got the training wheels on, so to speak. So you might have to chip on both sides. There will be some double teams. The running back might have to stay in a little bit more to make sure the guys are good before he gets out, which will slow him down and getting out in the route. Tight ends might have to chip, which will slow them down getting into the route. You might have to bring wide receivers, in motion to just crack or get a piece on the way out, that sort of thing, which will slow them down getting to their routes. So it affects the offense that way. Some of the play action that you want to call, you might have to call it with a max protect, which takes guys out of the route. So it changes the dynamics of the play and how it operates. But I think the biggest change you'll see is the quick game. I think you have to run more quick game, like less of Jaden turning his back to the defense, and more of the quick game, right? Getting it out of his hands quickly. That might feature shotgun. That might feature direct drop backs, 3-step drops, ball out right now. And that neutralizes the pass rush. But it goes against what DQ wanted to see this year, which is the chunk plays and the big plays on early downs. So you have to find the balance. But I think that's the adjustment, the quick game. How short is Quinn's leash this season if this continues? I don't think his leash is short at all right now. I do think that if the season doesn't go well, because Josh Harris isn't an impatient owner. So he's not going to fire him in season, I don't believe. Like, he won't press for it, I should say. Adam Peters really has the decision. And Adam doesn't strike me as a guy that's impatient. I think Quinn, unless this thing totally unravels, which I don't see, because if it was going to totally unravel, it would have happened last year. And despite how bad it was, they were all riding for Dan Quinn in the face of all the adversity that hit last year. So this year isn't going to be as bad as last year. So if they didn't quit last year on Quinn, I don't see it happening this year. But if they finish 5-12 again, I do think there's a conversation about Quinn potentially being fired. Yeah. I think anything less than six, there's a conversation, a serious conversation, like he could be fired. 6 on the dot, there's a conversation. I don't think he gets fired, but he's on a seriously hot seat going into next year. 7 or above, and I think he's safe. Even if you don't like it, he's safe. 6, very hot seat going into next year. Anything less than 6, and I think there's a chance he's fired. You start off, you see the murderer's row that we have to start the season. You start off 0-3, and that turns into 1-5 at the bye, and then you come out of the bye against Philadelphia, and you fall to 1-6. He could be fired in season. He could be fired in season. I just don't see us playing that poorly, though. I don't. That could be the hopium talking, but I don't. I just don't. I don't think we're as bad as y'all think. That's just me. You know what I mean? So, Rubino, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rubino writes, think they're trying to shop Luke McCaffrey, but doubt any team would trade for him. Khan mentioned this possibility twice on his podcast, and he usually drops hints like this when he knows something. Luke was out there for a reason. I'd shop his ass if you can find a trade partner to get some quality offensive line help in here. Hell yeah. Like, I don't value Luke on kickoffs like y'all do. I don't, because Luke ain't never running some shit back for a touchdown. I love getting into the 40. If these dudes block like they did last year, the only reason Luke got, it ain't like Luke out here making somebody miss. Luke breaking tackles, spinning off of people. Luke is running up wide open holes and getting to the 40 and the 50. Anybody can be back there and do that shit. I don't need Luke McCaffrey for that. So if you can find somebody that's interested in Luke McCaffrey and we get a quality offensive lineman back in return, please sign me up. Candy already alluded to the fact that there could be a trade. Now, she was saying we might have to give something up, like draft capital. She didn't hint at a player being dealt. I'm all for Van Jefferson or a Luke McCaffrey being traded. We've seen a lot of these in between the margin trades between teams over the last 72 hours. I'm trying to jump in the mix, man. I got these receivers. I know somebody out there needs some receiver help. The Browns just let go of a 3rd-round pick in Cedric Tillman. Somebody got to need a receiver, man. Holla at your boy. Holla at your boy. Maybe they trying to shop Luke, but if they were trying to shop him tonight, the shit that he did got him back there on the clearance rack. That shit ain't helped the cause. That ain't helped the cause at all. Jaden Doffelmeyer, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jaden writes, Louie Tee. Jaden, as a wise woman once said, use your clues. I ignored the signs last year, not this year, though. Yeah, last year was different. And I've already explained why it was different to me. It may be the same to y'all. And again, I'm not going to tell y'all how to feel because I don't want you to be set up for a letdown. If you feel like in order to protect your sanity, you need to go into this season with lowered expectations, then do it. That ain't how I live my life. Unless I feel like 2019, when I knew there was no way we were going to be good. Unless it's like 2021, when Ryan Fitzpatrick was the quarterback and I knew there's no way that this season is going to end well for us. I've always got hope. I got more hope than most years because we're way more talented. I've said this numerous times. Just because of a few injuries doesn't change the way I feel. This is the most talented team we've had top to bottom since probably, you got to go back to like 2015. And really the offense was talented. The defense wasn't talented in 2015. You probably got to go all the way back to Gibbs 2.0 to find a team this talented. That says a lot. We got defensive talent for the first time since 05, 04, 05. This is the first time we've had this kind of defensive talent. 2020, we weren't the super talented. We didn't know what Cam Curl was. It was a rookie Chase Young. Montez Sweat had a good year. You had Payne and Allen. They never lived up to what they were supposed to be here, though. Let's keep it a buck, right? Like, you still didn't have no linebackers for real. Like, 2020 was cool, but it ain't this. Like, we got legitimate, like Leo Chanel is a talent. Sonny Styles is a talent. Adafi Owe is a first-round talent, drafted in the first round. Kaylavon Chason is a former first-round talent. Like, these are guys that are ascending. The arrow is pointing up. Deron Payne's still here, can still play at a high level. Javon Kinlaw, former first-round pick. And I think he's going to be able to be better because he's got talent around him. He ain't even remotely close to being a focal point no more. Last year, he and Deron Payne were literally the focal point of teams that were playing against us. I remember an offensive coordinator saying the only thing we prepared for when we played the Commanders was the two defensive tackles. We didn't care about nobody else they had on defense. You're not even thinking about Javon Kinlaw now. He's an afterthought. He can get busy this year. So this is a different roster. When have we had anybody opposite of Terry that's had 1,000 yards, that's even been remotely, not just 1,000. Stephon Diggs has been a 1,500-yard receiver in this league in his career. Like, we talking about something. He did 1,000 last year fresh off of an ACL. Like, what are we talking about? Like, this is Antonio Williams is our third receiver. What? Wait, what? Like, this ain't last year, Jaden. As much as I hear what you're saying, this ain't last year. I can't get with that. Now, the offensive line can reduce this team offensively to next to nothing if they can't get it right. But talent-wise, we're not even in the same stratosphere as yet last year. Like, we had Preston Smith, Von Miller, and Jacob Martin as core players on this defense last year. And I know Preston came after all the injuries, but Von Miller and Jacob Martin were core guys that we were going to be relying on. Like, wait, what are we talking about, man? Who were the backup defensive tackles last year? Johnny Newton and who? Can you name the other defensive tackle that was here last year? Like, seriously, what were we doing? Bobby Wagner was 77 years old last year. Frankie Louvu was playing defensive end out of necessity. They wouldn't put Jordan McGee on the field for whatever reason. We had no guys in the secondary. Marshawn Lattimore got hurt. Trey Amos got hurt. Even when they were healthy, they were leaky at best. Mikey was a disaster in the slot. Like, it's a totally different ball game this year. Different scheme. A guy that can actually scheme up pressure. He was dying to press the button, by the way, tonight. And DQ said, no. Durante, no. Durante's like, just let me press it once, man. Let me press it one time. He's like, no. Save it for week 1, September 13th. He was dying. I saw him on the sideline pacing, bro. They can't get no pressure. They just rushing forward, playing basic ass cover 3 and cover 2 and getting torched. He's like, let me press it one time, man. What? DQ was like, no, brother. No. Save it for week 1. Durante was hurting on the sideline, boy. I felt for him. I feel for you. He was hurting over there, bro. Don't worry. He gonna unleash the beast in week 1 on Jalen Hurts' ass. Unleash that shit on him. We getting at least 2 picks off of his bum ass week 1. At least 2. So you can use your clues if you want to protect yourself. By all means, I'm not going to tell you not to. Because every fan has to deal with the baggage that came from last year in their own way. Last year was rough. And that shit set us back. And people are still traumatized from 20 years of abuse. But last year especially did something to this fan base that is irreparable as of right now. It's irreparable. The only way you turn it around is they got to go out and they win. They got to win big. This fan base ain't going to believe until they see it and see it consistently and they see it all the way through. Because the damage done last year has people shook. And I get it. So if you want to, you want to make sure that you protect yourself by saying, I'm using my clues like Candy Waller told me. This feels like last year. I'm a reserve judgment. I'm standing back. Louie T, you got it, bro. But I'm going to stand back here. I'm going to watch. I don't believe in this shit. You have every right to feel that way. And when we win, I'm not going to chastise you. I'm going to be like, come on, man. Grab my hand. Take my hand. Let me pull you onto the train, bro. Train taking off, man. Come on, grab my hand. I'm going to pull you up. Because I get it. Because you've been here, Jaden. I know you. You've been here. Just like the rest of the people I've been talking to tonight. They've been here. They just want to see this team win. We all want the same thing. It's just hard to believe in this team because they always let us down. They always let us down. It never ends well for us, except for 2024. And even that ended in disaster, right? Like, that wasn't happily ever after. It was just so unexpected that even the way it ended, while it sucked, it was still like, but boy, what a season. What a magic carpet ride. I believe in 5, and I believe in these coordinators. And more importantly, and unlike some of y'all, I believe in the talent on this roster, man. This is the best roster Jaden has had around him. The offensive line, this wasn't supposed to be like this. I hate that this happened because just 3 weeks ago, we were talking about we could have a top 10 offensive line. Stands for center, obviously. That was always the question mark. But we felt like this line could be, I didn't think it would be top 10, but I said, hey, this line could be like top 12 in the league. And if Nick Allegretti plays well, it could be top 10. And you go from that to now, we bottom third of the league offensive line-wise, and we fighting for our lives over here. We like literally fighting for our lives offensive line-wise. And that shit sucks. Nabbit, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Nabbit writes, I commented on the video you did with Candy when you said, so we agree on wide receiver. She said, potentially, using my clues, Lou, she knows he not making it. Candy liked to protect herself. You know, Candy, one thing I know about Candy, this is what I can say about Candy. Candy is very, very vigilant. She sees things out there that a lot of people don't. And a lot of times she's the first person to see something. She asks DQ about it. And then that's when everybody else starts to flock after she brings it to, everybody's attention. So she's very hyper vigilant out there. But also, Candy is one of those people that she's extremely smart, which is why I love Candy. She's very smart. And what smart people do a lot of times is they straddle the fence. They straddle the fence. Like, I could be right, I could be wrong, but if I say this and I kind of like not commit all the way, I'm still right, even if I'm wrong, right? So this is the thing. She works on the beat. She has to be around these players. She can't be as definitive as I am. She shouldn't be if she's smart, which she's not. Is definitive because she is smart. Like, I got to be out here. And just in case they see this or somebody else sees it, I need to make sure that I don't piss anybody off. I got to be around these guys. I got to talk to them on a daily basis. So she tells the truth, though. She keeps it a buck with us. But her saying potentially is like leaving the door open. Like, if he get cut, y'all going to say, Candy was right. If he make the roster, what you going to say? Nothing, right? Because she straddled the fence. She kind of did it. I'm standing down. I'm standing on business. He making a roster. If he don't, I was wrong. And I told you I would be shocked. But after the night, I'm not shocked if he don't make the roster. Like, tonight was eye-opening for me. It was jarring for me. Not shocking, but it was jarring how long he was out there. That kind of took me aback. Like, oh, shit. Luke was out there for a whole half. And, like, this man almost got concussed making a great catch. And they sent him back out on the field. Like, that, if they loved Luke, if they truly loved Luke, after that play, they would have been like, all right, bro, you done. You good. Don't go back out. And I thought that's what they was doing because Luke told his wide receiver coach, Bobby Ingram, I'm ready to go back in. And Bobby pushed him back and told him, back up. You good. So I thought he was done. No, Luke came back out on that next possession and then dropped the football. I said, oh, shit. Luke, what we doing, man? We'll see. Candy also said that, and again, she's not alone. John Kime also didn't have Fabian Moreau, and she said, no, Fabian ain't making this roster. Fabian Moreau's making this roster. She might be right. John Kime might be right. I'm standing 10 toes down on Fabian Moreau making the roster. You can't afford, with Trey Amos being a no-show all summer, you can't afford to go into camp with four corners. And Fabian Moreau has been, more importantly, he's been in Durante Jones' system before, or he's been with Durante Jones. He knows the system. He's a veteran. You can trust him to go in the game and not vomit on himself. Fabian Moreau's making this roster. So I don't agree. So we'll see. Like, the Candy been at like a 97% hit rate this summer. Like, yo, last year, I will say this. Me and her used to go back and forth all the time. Like, she wasn't hitting like this last year. She just, she would tell me things and I would be like, okay. And then, like, because it was such a mess last year. And she could see it and she understood it. But she wasn't hitting like this. She would tell me some stuff. I would be like, okay, and it wouldn't come to fruition. Or she would tell me something and she'd be like, look, I know for a fact this is about to happen. And it would happen. It was like 50-50, probably 60-40. This year, it's like 97% hit rate, bro. She was first on Will Harris. She was the first on the center position. She has been like all in on the green dot. She was like, it's Frankie. It's Frankie. It's Frankie. And I kept saying, Leo. And she was like, bro, trust me. It's Frankie or it's Sonny. It's Frankie or it's Sonny. Like, she been right on just about everything. I think this is where, because she can't stay at 97% forever, bro. She got to come down at some point. This is where she starts to come down. I think Luke making this roster, and I think Fabian Moreau making a roster. So, but we'll see. And if she right, I'd owe her a 00. I owe her another 00. Another one. Derek B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes 9, which is his 2024 allotment of picks. 6, which was the 2026, which is this year allotment of picks, and 5, which was the 2025 allotment of picks. We can do the math. 9 plus 6 is 15. 15 plus 5 is 20. 1 pick shy of a full 3-year clip. No excuses. Yeah, that's not how that works, though. You know that, Derek B. 9 picks in one draft don't equal 7 picks in another draft, don't equal 7 picks in another draft, right? You might have been able to find more talent. Like, we got Joshua Josephs in the 5th round of last year's draft. That 5th round pick might have, getting him in the 5th round pick, what kind of talent that he has and what we think he could be, or I think he could be. I don't want to speak for anybody else. What I think he can be, that might not have happened in 2024. Having all those picks, and again, we didn't have very many in day 3, which was good. Where he really screwed the pooch, like if we really assessing Adam Peters right now, if you really want to kill him, is the 2nd round in 2024. Like, you can't have 3 picks and none of them look like slam dunks right now. And only one of them actually feels like a guy that can be back for a 2nd contract. The other 2 guys look like busts. And the 3rd guy could be a bust too in Mikey Zamerson. Like, that's where he effed up. The 3rd round that year, the 2nd round, Brandon Coleman and Luke McCaffrey. I still don't like the Luke McCaffrey pick. Never did and never will like the Luke McCaffrey pick. Coleman is fine. Like, you needed an offensive lineman. You needed a tackle. He's not necessarily a tackle, but we needed an offensive lineman regardless. I don't think he turned out to be what they thought he was going to be. But like I said before, if Brandon Coleman plays solid football at left tackle for the 2nd time in 3 years, he's earned his keep as a 3rd round pick. But Luke overdrafted him. and Ben Sinnott overdrafted him, and Mike and Johnny Newton, they were wrong. They missed on him. I was a Braden Fisk guy. I liked 2 or 3 different defensive tackles before I liked Johnny Newton. And again, it is what it is. You can't have revisionist history now, but that's where he went wrong, 2024. Because I actually think the 25 draft is good, and I actually think the 26 draft, I think it's a good class, but again, we got to see. But if Sonny Styles and Antonio Williams are what we think they are, if the rest of the draft stinks, but those 2 are what I think they are, you're talking about 2 Pro Bowl, All-Pro type players. I'll take that if the rest of the draft stinks. And I don't think the rest of the draft stinks, by the way, because I think Joshua Josephs has a chance to be like a core player. And I think Fat Man has a role. And I think Atha Kaliak-Manis, if nothing else, is a backup on this team behind Jaden Daniels. And that's what you drafted him to be. So, again, the only guy, much like the year before, is the 6th round pick, Kay Madrano. Didn't believe in that pick when he made it. Still don't believe in that pick. And Matt Gulbin. Not really sure about him. So, it's not the same when you spread it, when you like disperse it 9-6-5. It's not necessarily the same. But I will say this, that 9, that's the one that's hurting you right now. Because you needed to come up with more than what you've come up with out of that draft. You needed to come up with more. Icon Visor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Watch this mess on my birthday. Hey, happy born day, man. Still your birthday today, man. Happy born day, my guy. Hope the day was full of love. Hope everybody reached out to you that was supposed to and touched bases with you and wished you a happy born day. Hey, enjoy it, bro. You in the last legs of your 20s, man. I mean, honestly, with the way things are now, I know this sounds, wild, but 30 just like being 20. It ain't until you hit them late 30s where you start to be like, oh, shit, I'm about to be 40. That's when it hits you a little different. When you get to like 35, 36, that's when you start to feel it. But you still young, man. It's a lot of good life ahead of you, bro. Enjoy, though. Congrats. And he said, shaking my head, let me go enjoy this carrot cake. What's crazy? You brought up carrot cake. I was thinking about carrot cake. I said, I'm going to make carrot cake for the next Kings event. Let me be specific. The next annual toast of the season, I'm gonna make carrot cake. I'm gonna bring it so I can show y'all like how I get down. Like as a wise man likes to say, I'm gonna show you how I get down. Right. Y'all love the vegan cookies? If you love the vegan cookies, you're gonna love my vegan carrot cake. So I gotta bless y'all. That carrot cake sound good. I ain't gonna hold you though. I got some vegan dip downstairs my wife made, or upstairs rather. My wife made. I can't wait to get upstairs and eat some of that. She made me some vegan dip. She made some I had some mushroom crumbles that she put in there with my vegan cheese. Contrary to popular belief, I do actually eat vegan cheese, only in certain instances. This is one of them. You got the Rotel tomatoes in there. She had like 3 different vegan cheeses, Mexican blend, cheddar. It's really good. She usually kill it. Now, I haven't had it with these mushroom crumbles before. This is the first time I've tried the mushroom crumbles. Normally, I just eat like Beyond Meat, but I've been laying off of it because it's super salty. So you got to like have a happy medium with that. So this is my first time eating the mushroom crumbles. Looking forward to it, though. I went to BJ's today, got me the big bag of 4th of July chips. I got to stop calling it that. It's not called the 4th of July chips. Late July chips. I think that's what they call it, late July, something like that. I stopped calling them the 4th of July because that's not what they are. But I think it's like late July or some shit like that. Got a big ass bag. That shit like this big. Finna go crush. But anyway, Enjoy the carrot cake, man. You just sent me on a tangent, bro. That carrot cake sound real good, man. Eat a slice for me. Eat a slice for me. And once again, happy born day, my guy. Mr. HTTR, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes 4 out of 6 right now. Ooh, if Kiki hits points and Ray hits for this PRA, I hate relying on Ray for anything, bro. And Kiki's so hit or miss. Kiki will go up. Like, Kiki been hot lately, bro. Kiki been going crazy. Kiki been scoring 20 and getting 12 boards. And then Kiki will have 8 and 11 boards. She usually board up, but either those are 2 volatile players that you got that you need for the leg. I hope. Let me go. You make me. I'm curious now. 625 for your boy. Prayers up, please. I'm gonna go check. I don't think the game's over yet. Let's see. That was a 10 o'clock game. Shouldn't be over. Hey, it's a close game, but ain't a lot of points scored. Let me see what Kiki doing. I'll tell you if she hit for you already. I'm gonna tell you right now. 57 to 56 in the third. So you still got a whole quarter left. She got 11 points. Whatever you put her down for, I'm pretty sure it's like 15. She gonna get that for you, bro. You good. You good. I told you, Ray is the one. Ray Burrell is the one that scares the shit out of me. Let me go check on Ray. She got 3 points, no rebounds, and 2 assists. She about to kill you, bro. I told you don't trust Ray. I told you don't trust Ray. She the one, bro. Every time. Every time. Damn, I'm hurting for you, bro. It's always Ray. Kiki, are you with me? Kiki, she usually, when I ask Kiki for something, she usually give it to me, but it's Ray. Ray Burrell. I remember Rio, like it was yesterday. Rio was like, yo, Ray Burrell, she be striking, bro. Put her down for 3 threes, and she had hit like 4 or 5 threes in like 5, 6 straight games. And he was right. She was striking. So I put her down for 2 threes. She had 0. I had everything else on my ticket hit. That ticket was like 700, and she had 0 threes. As a matter of fact, I put her for 3 threes. She had 0. So, sorry, Mr. HTTR. I don't know what PRA you had her for. My guess is 15. That's my guess. She's got 5 right now, and we're in the third quarter. And unless she get hot from 3-point land, which usually she's an early scorer. She don't score late. She scores her points early. You're probably screwed, bro. I hope you don't need her for 20 because you're dead if that's the case. 15, you're not dead yet because she could get hot. She can knock down 3 threes, and all of a sudden, you cooking, bro. You right there. Couple rebounds, 1 assist, and bam, you got what you need. But the likelihood is you cook. I hate it for you, bro. I hate it. I hate it, bro. I hate it. But sometimes that's how it's got to be. The fly therapist. A lot of people need it right now. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. The fly therapist writes, how you guys feel all the matchups against us, Eagles in week 1, with the way the roster looks? I have a great feeling our trenches will dominate. I got belief. I got a firm belief in the things that matter. I believe in Durante Jones. I believe in David Blau. I believe in Jaden Daniels. I believe in the talent on this roster. Those are the things that I believe in, and those things make me confident. I still have my doubts about Dan Quinn in-game, decision-making, when to throw the flag, when to call timeouts. I think he's back to 2024 more so than he is last year, but I need to see it, obviously. But I think we're closer to 24 than we are to 25, if that makes sense. I think we got a solid kicker. The field goal that he attempted, it wasn't very far. It was a close field goal, but it was right down the middle. I think we got a good field goal kicker. I think we have all the pieces in place that we need. We just got to get healthy. We need everybody. We need all hands on deck. We need Adafi back. We need K. Levon Chick. KC45. We need him back. We need Deron back. We need Bill back. We need Rashad back. We need everybody back. We need all hands on deck. And if we have that, and I think we will, we need Trey Amos back. We need all our guys back. And if we do, I like our chances in week 1. No, I don't like them. I love them in week 1. I'm knocking on the door. I already told y'all. Hey, Philadelphia, open up the goddamn door. We bringing on that bitch like the cops. Either they're gonna open the bitch up or we gonna kick that hoe in. And when they show up to the door and they ask, who is it? It's just us and the guns. Open up. That's where I'm at with mine. So you asked me how I feel about how we match up with Philadelphia. I don't love the offensive line against their D-line. Hate it. Hated it. Hate that shit. That's not advantage Commanders. I don't love that matchup. And I think that's the only thing that worries me. Their entire defense is good. And we've always struggled with Philadelphia's defense. But I think some of that was because of Cliff and his reluctance to adjust. This is the same guy that said, I'm not going to, game plan for Brian Flores' defense because he's just so hard to scheme. We're just going to run our shit. Like, when you got a coordinator that thinks that way, you're setting yourself up for failure. So I think David Blau is going to game plan. Like, they don't have a new defense. They're the only team in the division without a new defensive coordinator. We know Vic Fangio. We know what he does. We got plenty. We got over 15 years of film worth of Vic Fangio. We don't need to go that far back. We can just look at what he did last year with the Eagles defensively and see what he brings. Like, we know his scheme. Like, David Blau can scheme up some shit to take advantage of what they want to do defensively. All right. Can we get the ball off? It's a question. Can we protect? That's going to be the $1 million question. If they can protect Jaden, they can't cover Stephon Diggs, Terry McLaurin, and Antonio Williams, and Chick Okonkwo, and Bill and Rashad out of the backfield. They can't do it. They can't do it. They got talent on that side of the ball, but they ain't got that much talent. They good, but they ain't that good. I take my chances. I won't say that we're gonna dominate in the trenches though. I can't say that we'll do that because the Eagles are really good in the trenches. So Renell Winchester, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Renell Winchester writes, maybe we can sign some of the Ravens cuts. That's what somebody said earlier, man. I'm not mad at that if that's the case. They got some good football players. Better than the shit we got on the back end of our roster. That's for damn sure. Renell Winchester, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Ravens are also one of the very top teams with UDFA players. Another way to build without free agency. Yeah. Adam hasn't done a great job in UDFA. So if you want to use that against them, go ahead. I'll grant you that. But if I feel some type of way about 5th, 6th, 7th round picks, specifically 6th and 7th round picks, you know damn well I ain't trying to count UDFAs. Like, if you hit on a UDFA, you killed the shit. It's hard. And we've kept UDFAs every year that he's been here. And this year is no different. They got Drew Stevens already making the roster. I don't think any other UDFAs are going to make the team. But this is the 3rd year in a row we had a UDFA. Remember 2024, Colson Yankoff and Tyler Owens, who are both still here and are both going to make the roster this year, made the roster. Last year, Ale Cajo made the roster. And this year, Drew Stevens made the roster. So every year, UDFAs have made the roster. I can't say that Ale Cajo is super impactful, but Yankoff and Owens absolutely are impactful. They are core special teamers, and we've got one of the best special teams units in football. So they absolutely serve a purpose. And Drew Stevens is going to play a pivotal part. If we have success this year, Stevens is going to be a huge part of that. So I would say his UDFA fines have been huge. Has he found like developmental guys? Nope. Carlin Vigor still stinks. Chigozie Anuzium was a guy that we got excited about. Didn't work out here, obviously. Hasn't found any the thing that I think he struggled with the most is finding offensive line developmental pieces, a tackle, a guard, something. Tim McKay, they spent all that money on Tim McKay, they cut him. This year they cut him. Like, they haven't found any developmental offensive linemen for the most part. So Jacob Cortez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jacob writes, Lou, I'm gonna need some of that hopium. Make it a double. Hey, I got plenty. I tried to push some of that hopium off on Candy. She ain't want none. I told her, look, if you double back and you need it, I got you. But I got you, Jacob. Hey, wait for me outside around the corner, man. I'm gonna dap you up. I'm gonna have a couple valves in my hand. It's gonna be a smooth transaction just like that. And you keep it pushing, bro. But I got you on the hopium, man. You know what it is, bro. We good. We good, Jacob. If you want to feel good, I got you. I got you. No name here today. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, do people think Howie started off great? He almost got ran out of Philly early on. It took years. It takes time to build an institution. We'll be fine. That's no name here today. I wish everybody looked at it from that lens, but that's I don't want to call him a wise man, but as a man used to say here, the truth of the matter is people don't have patience anymore. I remember a time where guys would get drafted in the first round and would get up to 6 years. Alex Smith wasn't good until like year 5, the final year of his rookie contract was when Alex Smith actually started to show signs of actually being good. Alex Smith was asked the first 3 years of his NFL career. They would have, after year 2, they would have been ready to run him out of town in today's NFL, in today's society, let alone getting all the way to year 5 and finally having the light bulb come on and figuring it out. Like, that's not possible today. If you're not good in your first, Sonny Styles played 19 snaps this preseason and they're already calling him a bust. like that patience doesn't exist anymore. It's not a thing. That's not even a real thing. What is patience? What is that? People don't have patience anymore. Derek B just said he had 20 draft picks. He should have already built this roster to Rome already. We should already have the best team in the league. He had 20 draft picks. One shy of a full plate, Derek B said. We should already be a upper echelon roster by now because he had 20 draft picks. Meanwhile, Seattle's got 11. The Vikings have 14. The Ravens have 12. And we have, that's in one draft I'm talking about. Dallas has 12. We got 6 and 5 and 9. We haven't had double digits not one time. But yet he's supposed to already have this shit built up and ready to rock. And again, I'm not targeting you, Derek B. It's just talking in general. Like, ultimately, to no name here today's point, it takes years, bro. But people don't have the patience to wait for the amount of time that it takes. I said it would take 3 years to build a roster that I think we could win with. I think we can win this year. I hate that Laramie Tunsil got injured because if he didn't, you wouldn't feel the way that you feel about the offensive line. You would feel the way that you feel about the center position. You wouldn't feel that way about the entirety of the offensive line. And that's the difference. And that sucks because Laramie Tunsil has barely been hurt in his career. And now he's injured significantly. And it really cripples our offensive line. And we're going to have to find a way to make do without him. But this is a talented roster. This is exactly what I envision us being by year 3. Could we have had more depth? Yeah. Could he have hit on some of those picks in 2024 a little bit better? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That 9 that Derek B referenced in 2024, that's the shit that's hurting us. Not the 6, this year, not the 5 last year. The 9 in 2024 is what's hurting us right now. You had 3 second rounders, 2 third rounders, and right now, if we just keeping a buck, right now, ain't none of them worthy of a second contract. Not Johnny Newton, not Mikey Samerstill, not Ben Sinnott, not Brandon Coleman, not Luke McCaffrey. Not one of them. You had 6 picks in the first 100. And only one of them is legitimate, and that's Jada. Mikey has a chance to prove that he's legitimate. Brandon Coleman has a chance to prove that he's legitimate. And to a lesser degree, shit, we don't even know if he's going to make the damn roster. Luke can prove that he's legitimate. Johnny's pretty much out for the vast majority of this season, if not all of it. And Ben Sinnott ain't going to get to prove a damn thing. They went out and got Chig, and Bates is ahead of him. And shit, they might even like Colson Yankoff more than him, to be honest, at this point. 2024 is where Adam Peters screwed the pooch from a draft perspective. I think he screwed us in free agency in 2025. But at the end of the day, it takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time. But time is not something that fans afford you when they've been waiting for over 2-3 decades. They don't. That's the thing that everybody always got to realize. The fan base been waiting for so long. You don't have time, bro. You don't have time. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And so you don't get the benefit of time. We want it now. We want the playoffs, and we want it now. That's why last year was so devastating. All the equity that you built up in 24 came crashing down, and then some in 25. And that's why you have such a defeatist mentality going into 26 with the fan base. And it's sad, but I get it. Club 100 TV. Do you see a trade? Thank you for Super Chat. Greatly appreciate you. Do you see a trade coming? Yes, I could see a trade. So I'm going to divvy up the pie for you. Chances that they go out and get someone from these 53-man roster cuts, 60%. 58%. 58%. Chances that they trade, 38%. 37%. 37%. Chances that they do nothing and just rock with Trent Scott, Julian Good-Jones, Matt Golban, etc. 5% chance. 5% chance. So 58% chance they just scour the free agency, waiver wire once the 53-man roster are trimmed down, or the 90-man rosters are trimmed down to 53. 37% chance that they trade, whether that's a Luke McCaffrey, a Van Jefferson, whomever, a draft pick, a late round one at that. 37%. Chances that they stay status quo, which would, I would be on some Fred G. Sanford shit. This is the big one. I'm coming to join you. I'd be ready to have a heart attack if they didn't do anything. Like, my belief in Adam Peters that I've been spewing, it would take a massive hit. Because that's not what Adam Peters stands for. That ain't who he been since he been here. He's been aggressive. Whether you like to admit it or not, he's been aggressive. Hence the lack of draft picks. He's been aggressive. Even in free agency. When he's decided I'm going to take a shot, he's been aggressive. Just got either outbid or the player decided, I don't want to leave. He was ready to be the highest bidder on Alec Pierce. He was ready to be that. And Alec Pierce said it was either Indianapolis or Washington. And he just chose to go back to Indianapolis. That's okay. Daniel Jones is like his best friend. That's okay. But Adam was ready. He was ready to outbid everybody for Tyler Linderbaum till the Raiders went nuclear. They went to the nuclear option. I don't blame him for going up to $27 million. That was crazy. Romeo Dubs said, the Patriots just went to the Super Bowl. I'm going to go rock with them over y'all. Cool. We were 5-12. I'm not mad at him. The money was comparable. He chose New England over us. Players, this is the thing. Players have a say-so. It's not like we are the reason, we are the deciding factor. We are the reason they choose to do this or that. They have a choice. Alec Pierce had a choice. He chose Indianapolis. Not because of the money. He chose Indianapolis because of comfort. That's all he's known. He loves it there. Daniel Jones is his best friend. He wanted to stay in Indianapolis. Not because of a lack of resources or our GM being, financially frugal. He was willing to spend. He was ready to spend on Tyler Linderbaum until the Raiders lost their damn minds. I didn't want Alec Pierce, by the way. I'm glad that he decided to go back to Indy. You would have been losing your shit had he went and got him and he hadn't played one snap yet because he's been injured the whole offseason or a whole summer, rather. You'd have been losing your damn mind. But that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is Adam Peters, from the day he got here, has been aggressive. He's made trades. He's gone after guys in free agency. He's been very shrewd with the moves that he's made. But when it was time to get aggressive, he got aggressive. Except for 2025. And even then, he traded for Tunzel. He traded for Debo. He still was aggressive. Not as aggressive in free agency. Those guys technically are free agency, but I'm talking about signing guys. He wasn't super aggressive in free agency in 2025. So, anyway, I digress. Yes, I can see a trade coming. It's the second most likely outcome of the next 48 hours, even though I think the likelihood is they just wait to see what shakes free on the waiver wire. Glizzy McGuire. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Glizzy McGuire writes, 5 might be running on some Herbert type time this year. AP. I hope not. I hope he ain't running for his life like Herbert always is behind that stinking ass. Well, they tried to build an offensive line. They got hurt last year. They had a left tackle and the babyface assassin. They had the right tackle and Joe Alt, and both of them got hurt. The center position has been a revolving door and a mess. That's why they went out and got Tyler Biadasz, and he's already gotten hurt. It's always something with Herbert. The guards have never been consistent. They thought they got something in the guard from the Eagles that won the Super Bowl from the Jets. Can't think of his name. And he stunk it up. They just can't get the offensive line right in front of Herbert for whatever reason. But I hope that ain't the type of time we on. I pray that ain't the type of time we on with 5. KC, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Spencer was waived with an injury designation Tuesday, and he ultimately went unclaimed on waivers. He will be forced to miss the 2026 season on IR. So he was waived with an injury designation, which would explain why they cut him, because I thought he was talented enough to make their football team, make the practice squad. So that would explain that. He went unclaimed, and now he is forced to miss the season on IR. Well, we'll see. Maybe that was the point of releasing him. They knew no one else would claim him, and that would land him back on their roster. I think they did similar things with other guys like Jerome Ford, I think. But I feel like they placed Jerome Ford on IR like they did Drizzy Drake. But you place those guys with on IR because they got injured, obviously. Then you reach an injury settlement. They clear waivers. They end up back on your roster. So maybe that's how that works. I usually don't keep tab. I'm going to be honest with you. So you might be right on this. I usually don't keep tabs on dudes who get injured and get released because I'm a laser-like focused guy. My focus is narrow. I always tell people, I don't care about the 27 draft. I have no interest in it because I'm locked in on 2026. If you're not a part of the solution, then you're a part of the problem. And I ain't got time for that. I'm locked in on who gonna help us win in 2026. Clearly, Malik Spencer is not helping us in 2026 and in any capacity, not on practice squad, nothing. So I'm locked in on the guys that's going to be here. So no disrespect to Malik Spencer or anybody else that got cut, waived with the injury designation that might be back, like a Drizzy Drake Jackson or a Jerome Ford, but I'm locked in on the guys that's going to actually try to help us win games this year. So we'll see what happens, but you might be right. Spencer might be back because it didn't make sense other than maybe he wasn't good on special teams, but that still didn't make sense to cut him. He must have gotten hurt, and they just said, okay, let's go ahead and get him on IR. But that was a surprise regardless. I still didn't think they would cut him. So, Brandon Cox, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Hey, my guy, Brandon. Tell Jen I said, what up, man? Praying for her, praying for y'all. And it was so good to meet y'all at the event, man. Y'all was so dope. And I really, truly appreciate y'all, man. Like, I talked to Rio. He filled me in on everything. So looking forward to hearing from you more in the future, bro. And congrats on all the success that you've had as well, my guy. Really, truly appreciate you. He says, Louie, so great to meet you with my lady Jen at the Kings rally. Yeah, man. It was super dope, man. You guys were among some of the favorite people that I met at the event. It was like super dope. Every year I meet people where I go, wow, that was really dope. The first event I met Oracle. Shout out to Oracle and her husband, and we chopped it up. And you got your people that are always at my events or the events. I've had 4 events now, 2 by myself, 2 with the Kings. And the Kings events are always better than anything I could do by myself because they us together feels like an unstoppable force. We bring out so many more people because some people may not rock with me, but they rock with Rico, or they may not rock with me and Rico, but they rock with Ed, or they may not rock with Ed, Rico, or me, but they rock with Rio, and vice versa. And so you just bring out so many different people, and people that rock with Rio, but not necessarily with me, I might meet them and they'd be like, yo, damn, he was dope. And now all of a sudden I got a new subscriber or somebody that rock with me now, and vice versa. So I always love these events because you can't always assume that, because they came to a Kings event, they all rock with all 4 of us. That's not always the case. So he was like, yo, no, Brandon and Jen are my people. I know he gifted Jen a Hellraiser jersey, and he was telling me, like, he talked about y'all for like a good 30 minutes because me and him, we rode to the event to and from. So we talked about y'all after the event, and I was telling him how much I enjoyed, talking to y'all, meeting y'all, and he was just filling me in on all of the, different details. So, yeah, like, I rock with y'all now. Like, y'all are my people now. So, he says, so the preseason is history. Does AP make a move to secure center O-line help? 100%. I will be shocked if he does not do something at center. Again, you're not getting a starting center this time of the year unless he trades for someone. That's where the trade comes in. You trade for somebody that's a starter. That's not backup depth. He's going to do something, whether it's a backup that you claim from, all of these cuts that are going to happen over the next 48 hours, or you trade for someone, and that could potentially be a starter. And possibly go grab Christian Gonzalez just for some extra punch on D. Keep rocking, Lou. they're not going to get Christian Gonzalez. The Patriots aren't going to trade him, number one. And number two, Adam Peters isn't giving up what it would take. You know what you would have to give up to get a Christian Gonzalez. We have the money to pay him. He wants 40 million a year at the cornerback position. I don't know if anybody else is making 40. He wants to be the first one to make 40. If somebody's already making 40 at the cornerback position, then he wants to be the highest paid corner in NFL history, which that's what happens. Whoever's up next is the highest paid at that position. But they're not willing to give up the 2 first-round picks that it's going to take to get him. Like, they're not doing that. I just sat here and talked for over 2 hours about how Adam Peters hasn't had a full complement of draft picks. And while Christian Gonzalez would be like a slam dunk home run that people would be excited about, we had our chance to draft him. Unfortunately, the last group thought it was better to draft Emmanuel Forbes Jr. instead of Christian Gonzalez. We had a chance. He could be here right now. Everybody except Ron Rivera and Martin Mayhew knew that was the best pick. Unfortunately, the 2 people that were in charge were the only 2 people that, and of course, all the dum-dums in the room, they were the only ones that thought that Emmanuel Forbes was the better pick over Christian Gonzalez. Any fan could have told you to just get Christian Gonzalez. Like, you got a gift that fell into your lap. Just take it. But whatever. I digress. I appreciate you, Brandon. They're absolutely getting O-line help. I'll be shocked if they don't. But they're not going after a Christian Gonzalez. He's going to get paid in New England. Like, they're at an impasse right now. They'll figure out some money that makes sense for both parties. All parties involved. So anyway, I digress. That was rough, y'all. The joint practice was rough. The game was even rougher, if that's a word. I think rougher is a word. It was the roughest. I know that's a word. But we made it to the finish line. Now we have precisely, roughly 2 weeks to prepare for the Philadelphia Eagles. A little bit over 2 weeks to prepare for the Philadelphia Eagles. Sunday will be 2 weeks. Guys have a chance to get healthy. You'll trim this roster down to 53. You'll make some roster moves to fortify the offensive line and the roster as a whole. And then we move on. And we set our sights and we start game planning for the Eagles, and we set our sights on getting off to a fast start this year. Got to. We don't have a choice. You start slow, and I don't know if you recover. My guy HTTR, I'm about to check on. Oh shit! Burrell got 12 points. She went off. I hope you ain't put her for 20 PRA. I hope you put her for 15. If you put her for 15, oh my God, I think you about to hit, bro. Kiki she still got 12 points. I thought she would have 15 by now. My guess is you put her for 15. But Ray went off. I said there's a chance Ray could go off. Usually she scores early though. But it's a bad loss for the Mystics too if they lose this game, which they look like they're going to lose. They down 7 with 2:20 left. But Ray went off. If you put her for 15, which that's the smart move, you should be in the driver's seat. I hope you put her for 15 and you put Kiki for 15, because if that's the case, you're not out of the you right there. I don't know if Kiki gonna score 15. She got 12, but if you put her for 15 and you put Ray Burrell for 20, you in trouble. Ray right there though, she got 12 and she got 17 total. She a 3 away. That you would need a 3 because she's not gonna get too many more rebounds or assists. Like, she's not a big assist guard and she's not a big rebounder, so she doesn't really maxed out there. She would have to hit another 3 to get you to 20. But hey, I hope you hit, bro. I hope you hit, man. I hope you hit. Bro. Anyway, I digress. Shout out to my guy Brandon. And tell Jen I said what up. And appreciate all the drinks at the event too, man. Hope she's doing well. Andre67 Poggers, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, unless we win a Super Bowl, I know you hate DQ, and you're not the biggest Adam Peters fan, but you absolutely can't stand DQ. I get it. I want DQ gone. We have 5. I'm still confident, but DQ can bring this team down. My faith in DQ is 3. AP is 7. So you're not as low on AP. So let me walk that statement back. I know you can't stand Dan Quinn. You want him gone. You would like to promote somebody on the staff. You would promote David Blau. You would promote Durante Jones. You want DQ gone. I get it. Any success that this team has, DQ is going to get credit for it. It's going to be hard for the coordinators to succeed, but DQ fail. Those two things can happen simultaneously. It's just going to be hard for that to happen. Not impossible, but it's going to be hard for those things to happen. Those guys are successful. The team probably is going to be successful, and DQ is going to get credit for that. And he should get credit for that, by the way. He hired them when nobody else was going to get, like, David Blau would have gotten a job in Detroit. He would have been their offensive coordinator. We didn't hire him here. He was going to get the job in Detroit. But Durante Jones probably wasn't going to get a job. He probably was going to get a job. And neither of them have called plays before. And DQ went out on a limb and gave both of them an opportunity. So you got to give him credit for that. You got to give him credit for that. But you're waiting for his demise. It may happen. It may happen. I'm not hoping that it happens because his demise would mean another rough season. And I don't want that. I just after last year, I'm ready to be back, man. I'm ready to be competitive. I don't want to be the laughing stock of the division. I want to be highly competitive, competing for the division crown. And I think we can. We have the best quarterback. I can't keep saying that, but yet the wins aren't, being produced. I need this team to win this season. So I need DQ to get it together this year. So hopefully he does his part. Anyway, I digress. Good luck to my guy, Mr. HTTR. Hopefully your lineup hits. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this stream. Shout out to everybody for sitting through this stream. I know it was long and it was a tough watch, but you made it through the preseason. Cheers to that. And hopefully you sat through the last shit. Sam Hartman Invitational Tournament. Hopefully you sat through the last of that tonight as well. We can only hope. We can only dream. Dream. Dream, dream, dream. Now you got 48 hours to see them trim this roster down. And more importantly, see if they upgrade some of the most important positions that need upgrades on this roster. I'll be back tomorrow with 53-man roster, what I think they're going to do in a practice squad, which that shit is convoluted now. But whatever. We'll do all of that tomorrow in lieu of the roster being trimmed down to 53 by Sunday at 6 o'clock. Anyway, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. Y'all know what it is. Post up. Take command. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys next time. Until then, you guys have a good one. Take care. Peace.